Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the rank 1 Terran player in the world in the blue, the Frenchman from Team Liquid. It's Clem, facing off against his greatest nemesis, the Protoss in red, the #1 in the world, of course. We have Hero. In a best-of-7 Terran versus Protoss winners bracket finals, the first of several series to determine today who's going to win the lion's share of $10,000 in the playoffs of the Revival Star League Tournament Season 5. And before we get started, and we're getting started very early, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, or maybe even subscribe. And we got the algorithm. And Jimmy, what do we have? Yes, it's them again. 1,856 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than the very first probe who snuck in, expecting to get in between the Reaper coming out and any sort of follow-up. But Clem countered that by simply not building a Reaper at all. Even though a second SCV comes down, the probe will be chased, and this keeps him off the map just long enough for the next step. A Zealot will walk across, but Concussive Shell is already done. The knees are broken, and Hero gonna try to teleport it out with a recall, and he gets out of there. You know what they say, that which doesn't kill you leaves you permanently crippled and wondering why your entire race is unable to heal, despite having such advanced technology. Or something like that. I think Sun Tzu said that. But the Concussive Shell play... Oh, and not to be outdone with the early game shenanigans, Clem breaks out the Concussive Shell in order to try to catch those early gateway units. Hero breaks out a Shrine to Dark. And maybe coming back soon? But a Dark Shrine. Meanwhile, the Marauders are trundling across the map, but 2 Stalkers, a Zealot, Guardian Shield. Reduces all range damage by 2 within the shield. Doesn't matter if they shoot within the shield. And unfortunately for Terran, every unit is range damage. And unfortunately for Protoss, not all of them are. But that Zealot hot on the trail of one of the Marauders. Down goes the Sentry. Marauder will get away. Kites around, knocks out a Stalker, but the Zealot zoning out, and he takes out 2 Marauders and another one in the very same scenario that Zealot is still suffering from. But the Marauder doesn't have shields, and heals are a long way off. And in case it's not obvious, we're not in the new proposed patch or anything along those lines. We still have quite a cycle of testing to do beforehand. But hopefully you won't mind jumping right into it with the 2 most... honestly, the greatest rivalry in StarCraft 2 right now, and I don't think it's close, as yet another unit is picked off. Hero is about to get Dark Templar, and I think he's about to. I'm not calling him a gold digger, but I do think that he's focused on maximizing his economic potential, just like me when I ask you to like and subscribe. But Hero warping in Dark Templar, and nothing that Clem has seen, which is nothing at this stage, really gives away this fact. Where is he stimming? Wait, oh, he saw it. Wait, no, wait, the healing shrine. What? There's a heal. Okay. Actually, this could heal the Protoss. He didn't see the Dark Templar. He's just using this as a rest stop to heal you. Oh, my. Oh, it's going to be a doozy of a day, everyone. Buckle up, buckle in, buckle down. And down goes the Dark Templar, but unfortunately they're already inside the house. He just started an engineering bay. He doesn't have any scans. Clem's economy is about to be gutted. But Hero, Clem's currently tearing right through it. But another DT is warped in. And this game might be over before it started, though it's still kind of unclear in which direction. It seems like it's tilting towards Hero, as Clem often does. Meanwhile, the engineering bay is finished. The SCVs are getting chased down on either side. A scan will protect the main. And finally, he pushes him away. 11 workers dead on either side. And it's 2 base to 2 base, says Clem. It's not a terrible economy. It's not the... like, especially with mules, and eventually... like, it's not good. But they were all of them deceived. For another base was made! Somehow Hero has a gold base throughout all this, and he's just transferring. That's like 1/3 of his probes. Which I guess makes sense economically, but Hero just throws out a gold base to the north in game #1. He's trying to drag out the scans, and at this stage of the game, 2 orbital commands, not just now starting medevacs, not getting mules is a huge hit to the economy. Usually you have to do that sort of napkin math about a mule being worth about 5 workers mining. But 0 mules are worth about 0 workers mining. And more... Where are you going? He's like, oh, that was too many. Really? There and back again. Hero, why is this the time we care about having inefficient mining? Sure. I believe he finished charge, indeed. So... the map is dark for Clem, and full of Templar, which, extra appropriate. He sees nothing. He may have his suspicions. There's a double medevac drop headed across. A probe will spot it! The probe's, in many ways, the real MVPs so far. Then again, you literally could do nothing without him, which feels a bit... It's obvious, yet worth mentioning. They never get the credit they deserve. Mostly angry words that would get me demonetized. But the double drop picks off a pylon. He doesn't know. He hasn't even looked for the third base. Like, he's probably assuming it's there. Yes, I'm saying Clem is assuming his base, but... maybe he'll check around some spylons? And these aren't that suspicious. It's Hero. I know they've both played on this map, but I feel like Hero is much more willing to embrace... well, just anything, really. Whereas Clem is trying to fit a square peg into any size hole, and sometimes, with enough micro and enough macro, you can do so. But sometimes, you're misjudging the situation entirely. That's still a lot of bio. No upgrades for either side. The force fields, the emotional support fields are a little helpful, but he used 200 energy there to mildly inconvenience some units. Retargeting, recalculating. He's forcing the Stalkers to blink away without actually exhausting the Widowmine hit by simply retargeting it when it's on the cooldown. Which, annoying, effective. Some Prairie Dog micro gets into the main. Still DT's mixed in. The Zealots drag out the mine hits. The Marines, the main base, he actually recalls from the front lines. He's going to leave the Marines behind, slaughtering the probes. And again... if Hero was on 2 bases, working on 3, oh, Clem is... this is working so perfectly. Clem is 100% winning the game in his mind. Hero, I'm not sure thinks that far ahead, but he's definitely ahead. It's just Clem has no idea. There's just so many Stalkers. Like, it's not even the point when you'd be suspicious. Oh, the scan! Oh, no, it's a disaster! Oh, I don't know if there's a video of Clem's face at that moment, but I feel like it wasn't a happy one. Oh, it's so much worse than he thought. And Hero pulls the wool over his eyes in game number 1. And what's the follow-up? It's more of the same. The M&M and M&M. The Marines, the Mines, the Medevacs, the Marauders. The melancholy. A micro's not enough. The macro won't save him. The DTs did critical damage and kept him busy. Kept him thinking about what's right in front of him, as opposed to going off the beaten path. Blinks out of the mine. Still at drop in the main. Recall is very much on cooldown, so despite the fact Hero is in a decisively winning position, there's still a chance for an all-out base trade, as almost every single gateway is depowered. Hero, no one is as much of an expert of jumping into the Canyon of Defeat while on the Mountain of Victory, as the army supply is about even. He's going to lose 2 next side, most of his production. Are there enough units left over? A Liberator on the high ground, the force field, but he uses a hallucinated Phoenix for high ground vision. But the Liberator is actually devastating here. A second Liberator may need to pull even more of the boys. Hero's breaking through. And Clem gets a little distracted on the other side. Some SCVs pulled. Remember that Colossus is not real. And more probes will be slaughtered. And Clem, Hero's losing that gold base. A blessing and a curse. The gold base and the investment there, but he has enough of a base that while Clem is gutting every single one, he's killed 34 probes. Clem has the worker lead. For now. A single medevac, no energy, almost no life. Force fields are good. Widow Mine's not good enough. And Clem, well, he's working on the base, but some cannons are coming online. There's an Immortal in production. Clem gutted back at home. And with the cannons finishing, an Immortal out, and enough of an army to come join up, he could recall, targets the Immortal. Gonna blast right through it. Shield battery recharge too little and too late. He can recall back home. Clem is in flight. This could be a draw. Actually, very legitimately could. As Hero has almost no workers left. Clem literally has no workers left. The Orbital Command is in flight. And, well, these are the only units that he has left to fight. But I think he says, good night, Hero. Meanders around the map and somehow, despite having such a commanding position, manages to wriggle out of it and still slide into a much less comfortable victory in game number 1. Well, of all the games I've ever seen, that was certainly one of them. Clem, that moment, like, he figured out, just, if he had seen it before he went up the ramp to fight the Blinkstalkers, he could have taken it out, and who knows where the game goes from there. But Hero, in the most Hero fashion, with a bunch of aggression and somehow also more economy. And even then, his army, Clem's micro and his precision are so good. But he didn't hold all the cards. And he got checkmated eventually. Yahtzee. Well, game 2, Ruby Rock. These two, that's it's a different map. It was a part of our community map pool, as opposed to the ladder map pool. Clearly, Clem, I'm not going to say on rails, but definitely has a much more clear path from beginning to end, like how he wants to achieve victory. Whereas Hero, well, Mom always said Hero's builds are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And the Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss is once again enough to bamboozle and just kind of end up in a victorious position. And it's not like it was random. He clearly planned it out. Before the Dark Shrine finished, he had a probe in position. And I didn't even get a chance to point it out. He proxied his second pylon and then never used the proxy. That's like a Protoss versus Protoss move. So if Clem had SCV scouted, he didn't. But if he had, he would have noticed a severe lack of second pylon, which almost always means proxy cheese. But Hero just put it out like by the third, where the third would normally be, which enough to add to the mind game without committing anything. It's kind of the equivalent of Terrans who like put their barracks a little bit outside the base just to fool the first probe. Even less committed than that, but still. And looks like Clem gonna stick with the concussive shell first. So the upside, of course, is if you catch even a single unit, that puts Protoss in an incredibly awkward spot. I guess a Zealot notwithstanding, that's a little bit more ambiguous. But if you catch a Stalker, like a Adept, or even worse, a Stalker, then Protoss has to really fight their way back. And you can have enough. You can have a shield battery back at home. It's just taking a third base ever is going to be very difficult. But at the same time, it locks you in to the barracks. You don't have... You're spending gas to get Marauders and concussive. You've only got one gas in the main in order to get the expansion in a timely fashion. So if you don't get some early damage, then you're in an awkward spot where you can't really get anything else done. There's not a Widowmine drop. There's not a Raven, not Cloak Banshees even. And they're a long way off, and both sides know it. So it's a pretty straightforward situation. And here comes Clem. Well, Hero scouted enough to see... I think he got driven back by a Marine, but... There's a third Stalker on the way. The Marauders are going to show up uninvited, but who's inviting Terrans to things? Meanwhile, there are concussive shells, but the probes are pulled off the line. Not the first time, won't be the last. Buffering a bit. Loses 2 probes. He's actually just walking past knowing. But I think a mistake. This third Marauder does not need to be here. Well, if he gets the Stalker, maybe it's worth it. Otherwise, no. No. I'm going to give that. That's a no. Not a good trade. He got 3 probes for 3. You don't have to be a mathematician. 3 probes for 3 marauders and a marine. I feel like that 3rd marauder was... That's just a mistake. Just a... He didn't realize it was coming across quick enough. And now... Well... Obviously, there's going to be stim. There's going to be more marauders. The factory is on the way. A warp prism for Hero. He got the robo. He's going blink. The classic Protoss versus Terran sort of opener. No Dark Shrine. Yet, at least. And with blink done, he can kite back and minimize his damage. Or minimize the damage taken, rather. Maximize the damage done. Emotionally and physically. Whoa! Oh! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stepped a little too far. Yeah, he really has to manage the blinks carefully, though. Especially once stim is done. Because if he tries to trade with blink and just doesn't get far enough, the concussive shell doesn't wear off when you blink away. It still affects the unit. So, not always relevant, but when you're talking about the best micro player in the world, I didn't say Terran, I said player. Also, arguably the best micro Protoss, except for Hero about half the time. Speaking of, surprise! Guardian Shield, Force Field, hello, and goodbye to most of those Marauders. Blinks over the top, down goes another one. Beautiful split on the damage. And guess what? It's that half the time. He blinks forward. Stim brings him a little closer to getting picked off again. And it might be over before it even started here. Oh my. The damage. Why does Clem have 47 SCVs to 44 probes? Hero was really... focused on getting the damage done, and it's paying off with dividends right now. Well, Clem still has a worker lead, but Hero has completely knocked out. He's killed 12 Marauders for 6 Stalkers this game. What does he have in there? Is that the Sentry? Yes. Picking off one after another on the SCVs. The medevacs are about to complete, which will make this a little bit closer, but wow, look at that target fire. That's one of the hardest parts of Blink Stalkers, is managing your damage. Yes, anyone can target fire 1 unit with enough Stalkers, but the fact he's splitting the Stalkers to do just enough damage, maybe not the greatest example, but still, and picking off multiple Marauders multiple times, it's so incredibly efficient, infuriating, and beautiful, inspiring, devastating. Anxiety-inducing. Glorious. And the Sentry has enough energy for the force field, but the medevac can help negate it. Not that... Well, does he juggle forward or back? The SCVs are pulled to the front line. The workers are going to be suffering a lot in this series. He even saves the Sentry yet again. At this point, the end of this series, he'll probably have at least a millennium. So, the Stalker's still trading, and Clem... One particularly great fight, and he can turn. He still has, well, could have, the much better army composition. A bio army is just better, with even supply. And he has better upgrades, like Marines, Medevacs, and Marauders beat Gateway units, especially if there's an upgrade advantage. But there's a few massive asterisks when it comes to the numbers here. Thing is, though, Hero has 5 gates. He's building a Robobay, trying to juggle the Stalker. He blinks in to trigger the Widow Mine and then yanks it out with the Ghetto Blink from the Prism. But now, he knows Hero's right there. Guardian Shield. Charge is done. Eats a Widow Mine hit. Retargeting the other one, it actually just gets taken out with the Observer providing detection on the back line. And juggling back and forth. And Clem holds the line. +1 attack is done. He picks off another Marauder. But Clem is on the cusp of turning this, as if he doesn't actually kill the units, pick them off one by one, then they all get healed up to full. And now Clem has 40 to 24 army supply. He's juggling back with the Prism, blinking as well. He won't lose the Prism, at least not yet. But Hero, did he dig too deep and too greedily? Or did he get just enough? He has 64 probes. He's got a Colossus with extended thermal lance just started, which means it's way behind me at this stage. And the sheer amount of medevacs, the totally not select all army on those observers. Clem knows there's an observer above his head, but is it worth even using a scan when you desperately need this level of economy? Yes, yes. You can't let Hero have that information. Meanwhile, the Widow Mine drop is just kind of happening by. His base is fully mining. He moves away in time. The second mine is altered as well. Offered on the altar, rather. The Stalkers are warped in, but the Widow Mine drop will boost past in time. And another one will be loaded up as Clem buying himself a lot of space. Hero still has a worker lead, but he hasn't brought it to bear with production yet. He's only now bringing the tech online. As he goes up to 7-8 gates. He's got the Robo with the extended thermal lance. So he has the money. He just hasn't paid. It hasn't paid off. And the Widow Mine dropped just in time. Decent hit. Gets a few more probes. Clem has a third command center, kind of surprisingly. The fact that Clem survived at all, he is the entire list of players that would have survived that. I am 100% convinced. Maru, no. Gumiho, I wish. Clem is the only player who even would pretend like this is a playable position. But I'm sure he has his opinions on exactly the state of the game right now. But 76 to 77 army supply. Though Hero is closing in on +2 attack. The Widowmine drops are still. And Hero a bit slow on the reaction this time. He's going to lose a few more, but Clem caught off guard. Hero blocks forward. The Widow Mines are not enough. The Colossus distracted by a command center, which is, it's a natural predator of command centers, if you know anything. And Clem gets smacked across the face with the entire Protoss army while he was tickling the probes with a few Widowmine hits and teasing him with the idea of actually doing damage. But the command center goes down, Clem goes down, Hero goes up 2-0. Here, what? Oh, we're just getting started. In case I didn't explain correctly, here's what we're doing today. This is the Winners Bracket Finals. Best of 7 of the Revival Star League Season 5. The loser of this will be playing in the Losers Bracket Finals. And I really debated splitting all these up into different series. Because, well, you're going to figure it out in a second why, but I really had a ton of fun doing the, even though it was exhausting, and killed my voice for several days. So we're going to try to avoid that, but I think we're failing so far. The GSL CK kind of Team League-esque with Maru and Hero. Noticing a trend. But the loser of this match will face Rogue. Yes, that Rogue. And the winner of that will move on to the Grand Finals. So whoever wins this match will automatically, well, not magically, but depends on who you ask, be in the Grand Finals. Obviously, that's how it works. The loser fights against Rogue. Whoever comes from the loser bracket will have to win a best of 7. And then, if they do, win another best of 3. That is the advantage for Hero, who's... Did I spoil it? Hero 2-0. He was in my head ahead. But Clem could very much turn this around, though he gets so tilted against Hero. It looks very good for Hero, right? But don't worry, we have so many anti-spoiler games. What is the summary? If Hero wins, which he's winning right now, quite decisively, then all he has to do is win a best of 7 against either Rogue or Clem. If Clem wins, same thing, other way around. And then, in the finals, whoever came from the loser bracket will have to win another best of 3 afterwards. Because whoever came from the winner's bracket has not lost a series yet. So it'd be a bit unfair. I actually really like that as a format, even if we don't get to see it showcased. My least favorite way of giving the winner's bracket winner... Winter... Making my brain hurt. My least favorite way of giving an advantage is just giving one game. A lot of tournaments do that just in order to save a little bit of time. Because multiple series could potentially, you know, be a bit long-winded. But I really don't like that. One, it's annoying to explain. And it feels like it kind of cheapens it. Though, understandable why it's used sometimes. So, Rogue is waiting. Clearly the underdog against either of these two. And the fact he made it this far despite the stacked nature of the tournament, including players like Maru and Classic. But we've got the trifecta. Hero, Clem, and Rogue. But so far, what the He's not just gonna put a pylon in his base, right? He's totally gonna put a pylon in his base. So this is Celestial Enclave. We have the worker only path. Which both players clearly know about. He's checking his corners. Doors and corners. That's what they get you. And Protoss do not have doors. So
Command center upgrade.
he's gonna build a supply depot there to prevent any probes from getting in.
SCV ready.
Oh, come on. This better not work. Oh my. Oh. I would even be mad. I mean, I would be very mad. Oh, he didn't scout. He didn't check the corners. That Hero's just building. 100% he realized that this probe has lived this long, so Clem's probably not going to find it. Oh, and he's selling it with the next probe. Oh, come on. No. You dirty boy. Come on, this is some 2010 Wings of Liberty. I'm pretty sure everyone here who at least remembers Wings of Liberty and installing it on their CD-ROM drive experienced this not once, but probably on a daily basis. The old, oh yeah, you could just put a pylon in the corner of my base threat. Come on, he can't keep getting away with it. But through all the fire. Oh, I need, I'm really disappointed that that call is coming from inside the house. Oh, there's a Raven on the way. More DTs warped in. The Raven, oh my god, it's a disaster. Oh, sweet, sweet Tassadar. He's gonna get the tank. Oh, the Raven, he's just killing all the, well, you can do that. That's a thing you can do. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Yes, you could just kill all their units. Emerges an Archon and recalls the Archon, and it's out of there. What a save! Oh. And he's like, does he think it was a warp prism? Come on, Clem. Have some. Does he think it was a warp prism? He did not go check. He doesn't know. Hero's just building a gate. He can't. He's not only gonna get away with it, he's gonna get away with it twice in one game. Cause he sold the idea. Cause Clem walled it off. He walled it off. Look, there's a wall there. No probe can get through that. It's true, they can't. Oh my. How does it, like, I'm not getting it, though. Like, why? I feel like Clem is just super tilted, because he didn't check. He knows they got in somehow. Even if he assumes it's a warp prism, it feels like gross negligence not to have something in the main. Here come the charge lots on either side. He attacks the front as the charge lots hit the main, but that's a distraction. The main base is under attack, and there's nothing to stop it. There goes the Raven. DT just went up in value, and Hero recognizes it immediately. Warps in two more. And meanwhile, the Archon at the front. Hero just commanded all of his stalkers through because he's just a nice guy like that. Will lose his entire army because it'd be boring if he just won the game that easily, obviously. So he did lose an Archon, like 3-4 stalkers, and a sentry. So that took this game. Well, Clem has a supply lead, is where we are. But he can count the energy on the orbitals, and he's counting not enough. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for Clem. The DT's eviscerating the economy, slicing through the Marines, and any hope of keeping this from needing to be a reverse sweep. Oh, not all heroes wear capes, but heroes do. And now, How did they get in? Clem, how did they get in? How did they get into the base? How do they keep getting into the base? Is this game gonna end? Like, he's just leaving. Come back! There are way more units here than in...
Additional supply depots.
Oh, sweet mother of mercy. Well, the only thing is there's nothing back at home for Hero. Like, literally. The drops will come out, but even a couple DTs would be enough to defend. He might have one scan, but as long as he doesn't lose all of his DTs and his Dark Shrine, it's fine. Come on. And Clem never scouted. He had to be convinced it was a prism. Like, I don't know if that's better or worse. If he thought it was a prism the whole time, but oh my. Well, this is not looking good for the Frenchman right now. Right now, Clem and Hero are within a statistical tie for second in the world, behind Cyril, who didn't deign to play in this tournament. But it feels like, well, today, the thing is, Clem is so good against everyone else. Hero is less decisive against everyone else. But he just can't wrap his head around it. He simply cannot deal with it. This is like Shin versus Maru levels of struggles. And even Shin broke that streak recently. But Clem he's trying to do something similar every game. And Hero is just not letting that happen. Every single game has had some extra flavor here. Something early on that tilts the game, literally and figuratively, in his favor. And every single game, Clem has fallen prey to it. Hook, line, and sinker. So, unless Clem wins 4 games in a row, he'll be facing Rogue at some point. Hero only needs 1 more to move on to the grand finals. And he has a real chance to do it in a speedrun fashion. You know what this really reminds me of is Maru versus Zest back in GSL, where Zest would crush everyone and then lose in 20 minutes to Maru. We're not quite that efficient here, but Clem is in the tubes. You see, this is so dramatic that I didn't even talk about the tubes here on Exarch. The probe. Oh, by the way, he's proxying a gate. He determined. I don't know if close positions are disabled, or if he's just hedging his bets. I'm pretty sure you can't spawn in close vertical positions. It's only cross or horizontal, but I'm not 100%. It really could just be Hero gambling 50-50. It's not too far from either base. A Marine down the center at the very dramatic watchtower. The SCV will take its time on the tubes and eventually get across. But by the time... This is the first SCV scout that Clem has done, I believe, by the way. Which, you know, Hero finally prompting it. He's just going to leave now. He didn't... Okay. He didn't see anything. There's a Robo over here. Robo, no! If he delays the command center, that is... Oh, and he's got the probe. The probe! 1 probe hit allows you to 2-shot. He gives him a lick. Tastes just like raisins. And now... the command center delayed before they could cut the ribbon on it, which will supply block Clem, potentially. Well, I think Hero's helping him out with that as well. And the Adept is taken out, but now the SCVs are stuck in the low ground. He can save them with the command center, but this isn't over. It's just begun. It's escalating, again, literally and figuratively. As Hero comes up the ramp, he has an immortal finishing. This is a Protoss versus Protoss cheese here. But the Frenchman, surprisingly, I think, unprepared for this level of cheddar. And, oh, wow. Well, the Adepts are jammed up against it all, trying to get some extra damage. And he loses them all, but... Surprise! An Immortal! Of all the things, that is certainly one of GG! Hero 4, Clem 0. Your first finalist is T1's only player in StarCraft 2. It's Hero. Wow. What a shellacking. What a... That was an experience and a half. Hero with some of the most comprehensive, decisive, and painful victories. Not a single game did Clem... I think it was game 1. He made it to 3 bases, but not really, though. As, Hero just pulls him apart, slices him up, and gets through the quarters, semis, and on to the finals. Welcome to the last chance for both these players. A best of 7. The losers bracket finals. The winner of this survives and goes on to face Hero, and he'll have to win 2 series, best of 7, best of 3. Whereas the loser is out. Goodbye, good day. You get nothing. Well, you get significantly less prize. You still get a lot. You don't get nothing. We don't do that. But Clem is settling into a more confident matchup, which is Clem versus anyone but Hero. I don't have the stats on hand, but I'd love to see the win rate of Clem versus even Cyril, I feel, has to be higher than against Hero. Clem is too good for his own good. At Protoss as well. Like, Clem is one of the top 3 Protoss versus Terran players in the world. And we never really get a real test because we don't have the technology to let Clem play with him against himself. So I do think, to an extent, his experience in Protoss versus Terran works against him because Hero, like, as a random player, I'm 1/3 everything myself. All right, so I can anger everyone equally. Like and subscribe for engagement bait. But I find myself thinking, what would I do? And I'm usually a pretty macro-oriented player, which is easier if you play all the time, but don't want to remember very specific, like, 1 or 2 base builds, like some people expect randoms to do. And then I find myself surprised, shocked, chagrined, even, when somebody just goes all in instead of taking a 3rd base when they're slightly behind. I'm like, what? Why do you have units? Why aren't you taking a 3rd? That's wrong. And then I die. And that happened to Clem 4 times in a row, pretty much. Just like the first drone. You thought you weren't gonna see me today. You showed up a little bit late, Brenda. Shut up, Susan! Better late than never. I mean, it really does depend. Can we go 1 game? Probably not. I did that. Sorry. I, blacked out. The Reapers to start on a map that really is not conducive to Reapers. You can't get to that back base. The Queens, yeah, this is why. Like, while there's a Reaper jump location, the Queens and the Lings are pretty easily able to cut it off. And Rogue will snipe off a Reaper. And this delayed Clem's expansion. Not by a lot, let's be honest here. But it did delay the 2nd and 3rd base somewhat. And it does lock him in yet again to the bio-medevac sort of play. So. Zoned out for a moment. It's a 3-2-1-1. Well, that's not actually accurate. I would describe it more as the 2 racks 3-2-1-1. And the opener is important. because a more generic 2-1 when we go straight into Marines doesn't put on as much early pressure, but it hits way quicker. So there's a chance the Zerg is way ahead economically and can just crush it, but it also might catch them droning, whereas the fact he went Reapers will give away a lot of the timing here. So 2 Reapers, 2 Hellions, just enough to mildly inconvenience the Queens. Like, if they were completely on their own, the Reaper Hellion might be able to deal with a couple beautiful Brenda bounces. And a Banshee with Cloak on the way. Kind of a wild move. Definitely unexpected. I was winding up to talk about the medevacs. I'm sure Rogue is expecting medevacs, which is why the very delayed Cloak Banshee might be successful. He does not have Spore Crawlers, and you very much are expecting a Marine drop after this. There is a chance, if the Banshee is successfully maneuvered out of Overlord range, that he'll show up and there will be no detection and no lair. So he's going to pull a hero on him. We had such a debate in Wings of Liberty of whether Banshees with Cloak were essentially flying Dark Templar. He'll go right by an Overlord. And the Spore... He's not going to expect the Cloak. Not that early. The Spore Crawlers will start. He gave a little bit more warning than maybe he wanted. But the Hellions could also run in. He slices through. There's no speed. Rogue went for the gasless play. So the real damage may be done with the Hellions. The Banshee actually kind of goes by the wayside. In fact, I was expecting a lot more here, but unfortunately for Clem, I do feel he dropped the ball kind of on both fronts. Very clearly just idling the Banshee. So instead of doing devastating economic damage with either the Hellions or the Banshee, he will do superficial damage. And Rogue will barely be... barely a speed bump in his economy, as he has 67, 69 drones, with a dozen more on the way. Wow, he's going straight up to 80 drones. He shut down the Hellions. He slapped away the Banshee. And, well, now he's got everything. And this is why you usually don't go Hellion Banshee after the Reapers. Thank you for the demonstration. It's just... Well, now you have nothing. They've defended the Banshees. You don't have any map control. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that Rogue can translate it into a position to damage Clem. But with Mutas, he may very well be able to. Hope I'm not getting sick. In the middle, it's not winter, which means I'm out of season. But sick of watching, well, Overlord taken out. Can't wait till they're way slower in the new patch, but it's just a bunch of Marines. Banelings, no speed. Rogue has 1-1, way quicker than Clem here. The Queens will survive, which of course keeps the Frenchmen all riled up. Few Marines left behind. 80 to 63 workers. Rogue wasting no time in getting the 2-2 upgrades. He's going to have at least a 45, 60 second advantage. Maybe more if Clem doesn't start his 2-2 immediately after the 1-1 completes. So, the only downside here... Well, if the Mutas aren't able to keep Clem busy, this map is very easy to defend. Not just 3, but 4 and 5 bases. It's a long rush distance. There's a solid high ground. Whoa. Another double drop. Mutas are in production. The Spore Crawlers are in position as a mild deterrent. But they weren't quite in position to deal with this directly. So he's going to pick up and get out, but almost loses one. The Mutas looking to chase down the medevacs, and very importantly, this will give Clem warning to put up missile turrets and get some defenses, but not very much of it. Oh my, the Marines in such an incredible position. Rogue just swings in. One Muta will be targeted down. The medevacs boost away. And another double drop to clean things up over to the left side. But still, Rogue has 83 drones. He's finishing his infestation pit. Clem's trying to move out on the map, which I feel is quite optimistic. Oh, that just dies. Like, that's gone. That's not nearly enough. It's not even in the same county as enough. Where's the units? The medevacs? Well, Widow Mines do some damage, but Banshee's taken out. Tanks targeted. The medevacs, still, it's raining men. Into the unit's lost tab, it seems. And there's enough lings to buffer. Clem will be knocked down to 130 supply. The hive begins. And now, that was clearly not a great fight for Clem. Though he did destroy more resources technically. He took out one of his own medevacs, 3 marauders and 4 marines with Widow Mines. But now the mutas are just going to start picking away at the base. And there's no way, especially without a Thor or 2, in order to zone out, that he can protect every angle. Drags out the Widowmine hit. And Rogue, with a hive completing, means he's still on track to have an upgrade advantage, which is quite impressive against a economical Terran. Though, there's always the risk. The Widow Mines, well, a few more Banelings coming in, using them as a buffer here to keep the mutas in a relatively safe position, but the Widow Mines were not taken out. And this is probably the best opportunity in the near future for Clem to stabilize, as Rogue does not have the hive done. He doesn't have the extra upgrades. Clem is about to finish 2-2. Marine count isn't there, but Rogue Ultraless Cap will begin almost immediately upon the hive completing. Adrenal glands for the Zerglings. Well, he gets the 3-3 upgrades first. I know the meters are... Adrenal glands for the Zerglings. Is this Shin? Okay. The mutas microing. Pick it off, Widowmine after Widowmine. The Zerglings are chewing through the rocks. And the mutas can help them out once they get close enough. Clem has done a good job of holding it down across the board. He's got 3-3 on the way. And it's that scenario of... if the Terran can max out with 3-3, the army's just better. The main advantage, of course, is mobility for the Zerg, forcing the Terran to split between multiple bases. And right now, well, he's going to bring in a whole bunch of Banes. With that much acid, he easily neutralizes even a strong base. That will supply block Clem as well, despite losing 12 SCVs. The Muta's at a bit of an awkward angle getting cornered here. The Baneling's trying to help them out, and he'll cut through the medevacs and then fly away. A couple picked off. Another Thor takes a pot shot with that explosive payload, but there are 5 Ultraless in production. Chitinous plating, still no adrenal glands. Somewhat disappointingly, but... Clem, 109 to 107 army supply, and Rogue is pretty much maxed out with 86 drones. Those Ultras, though, he has to know. So the Ultras, how many Marauders? 11 Marauders, 2 Thors. That is, oh, surprise. Not a fun one. Meanwhile, a few Zerglings in the top left corner. Ultras down the center, still paperless, but with the Banelings involved. And he's just going to go into the corner, might just pick up into the medevacs. Actually finds a good angle, and Rogue! Oh, you got to be careful. This is a precarious time for Rogue. Despite the map control, despite the upgrades. If he loses important parts of his army now, Clem is maxed out. If he's able to focus on microwing, well... things get really dicey really fast. Ultras, much like your mother, are not known for their agility in tight spaces. So Marines caught behind a mineral line and medevacs flying all over the place. The mutas are committed to the left, so Clem hits the right. 3-3 upgrades finishing across the board. And Clem has dragged it back. Rogue unable to solidify his position. And now losing 1 or 2 Ultras at a time. There are no Infestors, no Vipers. And there's still a lot of armor. He's gonna... the Thor's gonna hold the door here. He juggles one back. The Marines on the high ground, and he's caught between a rock and a hard place. The Banelings come in for another round. He moves the Marines behind, but the Banelings are going to hit absolutely everything. Clem kind of meandering, and without the Banes, the Ultras couldn't have broken through. But with them, the Bane of Clem, who may be continuing his streak of tough losses here in the Revival Star League against two of the top Koreans. Oh my. It's a disaster. No Ghost Academy. No Liberators. He still has a good economy. The Changeling in the pipe 5x5, right, boys? All jacked up and good to go? What? Mm-hmm. You want a piece of me, boy? Who is this guy? Rogue, well known for his Changeling strategies. Another Changeling. The Thors, the SCV's trying to repair, but the Thor's not making it easy. There are 8 Ultralisks. 22 Marauders, though. The Banelings, of course, making it a very difficult proposition to stay all together and focus your fire. The Thor's doing so much damage, but the Medevac's in the midst of it all. Everything's so dangerous to one another. But the Planetary will be smashed yet again. The Ultra's easily taken out, but the Marines left in front, the Banelings will roll right through. And again, Clem may arguably win the fight. No, that's a dumb argument. He did not win the fight, and he's not winning the war. It's just a question of, at this point, it would be quite an impressive throw from Rogue. He's taken out the economy, he's whittled down the army, and now, just the last units themselves. The Mutas have remained. He only lost 13 in the entire game, and Clem loses yet another. Clem down 1-0 to Rogue in game 1 of the Losers Bracket Finals. And, well, I really thought, well, so Rogue has been one of those players who occasionally can upset Clem. Again, emotionally and physically, but not nearly with the reliability of Hero. But so far, and considering, well, the last series that Clem played, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit less than not tilted. I was trying to say nice things. I said not nice things, so there's that. Rogue with a extractor trick hatch. 15 out of 14. The extractor trick to get that little bit of extra supply. He does it again. This man does not build overlords. All right? No! No. No overlords. No one enters production. But quite a curious build. Usually when you do this, you have a very specific timing. Either really trying to min-max economically or hit a cheese timing, because it is less effective economically. All the extractor tricks and the kind of supply manipulation is to make up for the economic hit of not having more drones early. So you're doing whatever you can to kind of catch up in that front. So we'll see. The most obvious thing would be a roach timing, where you're not going to have as many injects, but you have the larva from both bases and earlier on. But we'll see. As Clem sends an SCV across. He sends it across after the racks, just enough to know if he needs to keep the Reaper at home. I think he'll turn around the moment. So either he turns around the moment he sees the hatch, or he just goes to the third. Does he recognize the hatch timing? He's just going to camp out. And wherever the drone tries, send 2. He's going to send 2. Wait, what? He just gets out. But he doesn't have the money. He's not going to cancel a queen. I'm really interested in what Rogue is doing here. Because any Zerg build that involves... it's to get quicker queens so you don't lose a bunch of drones to the Reaper. While still not building. He's trying not to build links. Unfortunately, it kind of defeats the purpose if you just lose drones to the Reaper. That's all it was, I think. This gets you your hatch and your pool a little bit quicker, so that way you have queens about 5 seconds, maybe 10 quicker? I don't know the exact timings, I'll be honest. But that's why he didn't build any lings. Unfortunately, he loses a drone, which is not ideal. Clem's already building a third command center. Not too far, but far enough out of the vision of the Overlord, hanging out on the pervert pillar, creeping everyone out. Figuratively for now. And no third base is suspicious in and of itself. Clem's checking his corners. He knows. And you don't really take hidden bases. He thinks there might be a drone back there. Maybe trying to take the base. Like, he keeps looking for it. But there is no base. He just gets a lair. Eventually, Clem will check. Oh, don't do it. The grenade? Does he have a grenade? He doesn't need one! Churlish and insubordinate. Who are you talking to, Brent? The Reaper! You think he's going to listen? It makes me feel better. Well, that makes one of us. I don't... Oh, shut up, Susan. Sorry. Hive mind is unoriginal yet insistent sometimes. Lair. Halfway done. Mutas? Again? He's getting a lot of gas. He has no roach warrant. It's gotta be Mutas. That or a rush to hive, but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, especially without the third. Hydras. Huh. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. All right. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. This is effectively Cyril's Hydraless build, which has been. It was used for like Cyril beat Clem decisively with it once or twice. And then everybody tried to use it for like a week. The Terrans figured it out. Just don't get caught with your units split. Like, if you just hold the high ground, it's fine. Which a lot of Terrans won't do at this stage of the game. And then it kind of fell out of style. But Rogue is breaking it back out to try to keep Clem off guard. The Hydraless Den was not spotted. This looks like Mutas. The thing is, the same sort of principles apply. And oh no! The Frenchman guns down the Queen. That's one. He's gonna see the Hydras, and that's not gonna stop him. He's tearing through everything. Oh, the revolution. It's a... Wow, he just wins the game. And just like that, the Clempire strikes back. Clem picks up his first win in 6 games of StarCraft 2, which is probably more rare than anything else we've seen so far. But Rogue tries to rush to Hydras, and as Day9 once said, if he's doing something weird, go fucking kill him. Give me, edit that out. Go, unalive him. No, that part. He rushed to Lair. He was clearly trying to manipulate, so I'm pretty convinced that Clem thought it was Mutas. And a Spire takes longer than a Hydra Den, so the same principles apply. Just, well... Now we're all tied up. And hopefully, you're all tied up watching the progression of this. I know I talked about it before, but I really hope it does well. The full sort of tournament playoffs. Because I found a lot of the time, well, one, the finals don't get the respect they deserve. And a lot of the time, the final, like the top 4 or top 3 in this case, it's a whole story. And just doing one series at a time, one, potentially spoils it for people watching one series first for some reason or another. They haven't tuned in necessarily. And 2, the spoilers themselves. The length of the video. I know we put some effort in to try to obscure that, but who knows? This series could be 2 hours long, and then the finals, Hero could cannon rush Rogue 4 times in a row and win in 10 minutes. You never know. You literally never know. Because who would have expected Hero 4-0ing Clem? It wasn't out of the realm of possibility. It honestly, it was definitely on the board. But now I would have been surprised if this series was 4-0 as well. Especially if it was Rogue. But we'll be spared that, as it's all tied up going into Eternity's Edge. Game number... Oh, three already. So thank you for watching. A reminder to like, subscribe, if you haven't yet. Well, or just watching, really. I know a lot of people, especially, well, all the people who watch on a daily basis, that's huge. That's great. But YouTube also really likes it when people are like, oh, I haven't seen this guy for... What's up with the beard, bro? It's like, well, it's been 6 months, but your mother likes it. Especially people who haven't watched in a while but are coming back and watching a bunch of videos. If that describes you, thank you. Amazing, incredible. Like, unsarcastically, I know I sound like... That's just my voice. Mostly. But the idea that people who haven't tuned in or either ever or regularly are now watching again is also huge. Because it's all about that algorithm. It's not about what you said you subscribed to 10 years ago. All right? Just think about the YouTubers that existed 10 years ago. And don't get too depressed, Grandpa. How's the back pain? And how many of them, well... If you're like, I watched you, Winter, well, I would hope the casting has gotten at least a little bit better. So thank you. In game number 3. Rogue with a 3 hatch significantly earlier. And was this command center first out of Clem? I believe so. Which is why the Reaper... No, never mind. Wow, paying no attention. Normal 1-rack 6-pan. Rogue not doing any weird supply manipulation this time. Building up the extra queens. If Clem had waited for medevacs, I think the Hydras were timed out clearly to deal with a medevac push. Except Clem just walked up. He didn't wait. He just went with the Marines. No medevacs, just pure, uncut Marines, drugs, guns, and a hatred of what they're calling illegal aliens. So, classic Terran strategy. Lore accurate as well. And uncomfortably effective. A Banshee with Cloak. This time at a more expected time. The Banshee, like the delayed Banshee on I do think that made a big difference. Losing the potential map control, and he wasn't on top of it either. I'm the Banshee evangelist, as you know. But I do not advocate for Banshees sitting there, off of creep, doing nothing, while your opponent is building spore crawlers. Like, that is not the, in my so humble opinion, the ideal use of Banshees. So, in case it wasn't obvious. Aliens on the way across. Looking for an angle. The Queen's acutely aware of it. But, that doesn't necessarily mean they can catch them. Just enough to... using the line of fire, quite literally, to snipe off the creep tumor. And the Hellions... still threatening, still keeping the Queens at bay. Rogue is at 56 drones. Which is not great, not terrible. Yeah, fair. Okay. The Moopies is hanging out, you know, checking out the scenery. Don't worry about it. That's unrelated to anything else happening. Until it very much isn't. No conspiracy theories here. Protoss are plants. We all know it. Why do you think solar power is so important? Mutas. Once again, Clem going with possibly the most cookie cutter Terran build. We've got the 3cc after Hellion Banshee. into mass barracks with Marines and tanks. Like, this is the default. If you had to pick from all of them. So, it still gives you plenty of production. By the time the Mutalisk Den is complete, there will be plenty of Marines. There'll be 1-1 upgrades. Does he have Combat Shield? He forgot Combat Shield. We'll see if he notices. He started an Armory. He's got to, but if he doesn't have Combat Shield against Mutas, and especially Banelings, of course, that is... It's not just a little problem. It's a huge problem. As the stim itself could bring you within kill range of the Baneling. So, it's surprisingly commonly missed, despite being one of the most obvious visual upgrades in the game. So, Clem is still poking and prodding. He hasn't noticed yet. Muta's in production. 1-1's gonna finish. Like, this is still a lot of pressure. And if they never hit you, you don't take any damage. Professional tip. But another stim, and he still hasn't started it. And every second really does count here. Because while Rogue may lose this base, unclear. The follow-up fights, every single one of them is gonna get more and more dangerous. The Mutas are spotted. He starts +2 infantry weapons. Picks up the Marines, will get out. There are a few Hellbats morphed in, but Rogue just cleans it up. He keeps the 4th base alive. Clem might be able to target the Banes, but again, like... Clem just... That is... It's a big deal. It's a huge deal. Every single Marine 10 HP. Those breakpoints that break the Marines themselves are so critical. He gets the hatchery outside the main base. The Spore's on the perimeter, though. He'll drop in the suspiciously obvious landing zone. Gonna take out the medevac. Some slick Mutalisk micro, making them slightly less of a Muta risk at this stage. And he doesn't have Combat Shield. Like, he doesn't have Combat Shield. I hate to sound like a pro player casting, like, well, that's about it. That's GG right there, but I can't stress. It's more important to have Combat Shield than every arm. There we go. He pulls back. I don't know if it's because he realized it, because he's just so far off the 2-2 upgrades, but Rogue definitely getting more of an edge here, as Clem not having nearly the threat with the Marines. Though, even then, even with that somewhat handicapped, it was still handy-capable. As Rogue stuck back at home with the Mutas, Clem's still threatening with the medevacs. And until he's able to actually clear them up reliably, then he can't necessarily go across the map. Drilling Claws on the way. 2-2 upgrades. Going to complete in about 30 seconds. Rogue only now finishing his 1-1 on the ground, as the Mutas are not cheap, to say the least. Knocks out one Widowmine. Another one will backstop the push. Drilling Claws is about to complete, which will require detection to deal with. He's got Overlord speed about halfway done. Or to let those Overlords catch up, or Overseers more importantly. Makes them almost as fast as the Mutas. Rogue gonna max out Lings and Banes. The Hive begins. And Clem now moving out. Combat Shield will finish. He shores it up. And Rogue did not punish him. Well, he maybe didn't have the opportunity, really. So it won't cost him. But if he had gotten it any later, he would have been able to hit the 2-2 timing nearly as reliably. We'll see now, though. The Banelings roll in! And oh no! This army gets cleaned up, but wait, there's more. On the other side, there's just a few Banelings, but there's more than that. Oh, he turned on the aimbot and gunned down every single one of the Banelings. He can get the hatchery, he can pick up, and he can get out. For now, as the Mutas are chasing him down, the Banelings rolling past the creep. He's going to lose several Mutas, but there's a whole murder of them on the high ground. So the Banelings, triggered by the Marauder, and Clem with a great snipe, the bait and switch, and he committed enough of his forces to take out the base and then some. And Clem is making up a lot of the ground that he lost in not putting the pressure on as solidly early. And Rogue, Hive is just now finishing, but until then, he doesn't have the 2-2 upgrades. Clem's had an upgrade advantage. There is no Hive tech that kicks in immediately. So, the creep, though, Gonna help out a bit. The Thor's a bit exposed. The Zerglings around the ankles. And the Thors will be surrounded and killed. Which means the Mutas now have a lot more rain over the skies. And the Banelings are making it rain all over the ground. Somehow. Don't ask how that works. Another Thor comes up. The army supplies are still nearly even. And the burrow. It was just Zerglings, but it could have been Banelings. You never know. Ultraless Cavern is on the way back at home to the adrenal glands. Begins alongside it as Rogue is reaching that critical stage of the late game for Zerg. He's got the economy. He's got the composition. He's got the creep spread. Things are going very, very well for the Executioner right now. And Clem, well, he's still got a lot of economy and a lot of momentum. But he's a lot closer to a critical point. One mediocre fight means the Mutas, Lings, and Banes are on top of his economy. But Rogue is building himself a bit of a buffer, both in tech and in map control. Oh, but a couple Widow Mines are enough to zone out. He's done such a great job with the Mutas, and that continues. The fact that Rogue has only 400 APM as Zerg, yet he's able to get so much done. He works smarter and not harder. For reference, Cyril's more like 500 to 550. Raynor and Shin are regularly... Raynor, Shin, and Solar are all over 600. They're more quantity over quality. But Rogue, quality and quantity. But is it enough? Clem has +3 attack, +2 armor, giving him a slight advantage. The Banelings will roll through, but the Marauders take the brunt of it. Widow Mines on the back line. The collapsible rock tower is in a precarious spot. Backing off another rock tower that neither player is intentionally taking out. Only Banelings have done so thus far. They have to see, like, it's likely they see the HP count on it. I wonder if they'll go for it. I think Clem's thinking about it. Meanwhile, some Ultras are popping out. Chitin is plating. There might be a moment to drop the rocks, and if they hit the Banelings in some Indiana Jonesian micro situation, well, it's likely it'll go down at... What the... Completely copyright free, alright? That doesn't remind me of any other Star sci-fi series whatsoever. Meanwhile, the creep being cleaned up over to the left side. And down the center, Clem keeping the pressure on. But the Ultraless and Rogue has yet to reach his final form. He doesn't have the 3-3 upgrades. He doesn't have Ultraless speed. Once he gets at least the upgrades, especially. Oh, he takes down the rock. Clem! Wait. Oh. I thought it'd be more dramatic. It's just... It's still good. But I thought it would go across... Okay, well... Those rocks just kind of in the way of things. He targets 1 Muta, 2 Muta, red Muta, no blue Muta. Meanwhile, another command center will be laid down. The Zerglings in the third base, the Widow Mines will be dragged in. Clem going to be doing a lot of damage over to the left, but economic damage being dealt back at home, and that's so many Banelings rolling through on the creep. Will melt many of the Marines, and the supply dropping dramatically. He runs forward with the Marauders, which is better to deal with the Banes, but there's enough to follow it up, and still 1 Ultralisk mixed in. Another Thor is caught and killed. A second one, and that leaves exactly 0. Not enough to deal with the Mutas, and the Banelings will chase the Marines off the creep. They're on the run. The third base is gone. It's in the air. The SCV count is in the ground. And the Changelings added on. 3 more Ultralists in production, and Rogue refills. He's at 200 supply yet again. And Clem does not have Ghosts. He does not have Liberators. Just 1 in production. He doesn't have the tools to be that entrenched Terran that's almost impossible to kill at all, let alone efficiently. He's battling on the field. He's brawling it out on the ground. And Rogue has only lost 1,500 more resources, which, considering that he's mined 3,000 more minerals and 1,500 more gas. Oh. And now he's got the Ultras without Ghosts and to an extent without Liberators. This army, it's not too difficult to beat, but it's almost impossible to beat without suffering critical losses that'll make you vulnerable to the next stage. As the Ultra's just chewing through the Banelings roll past the Mutas down the center. And Clem loses the base. The Banelings, the second wave was a bit delayed. And that'll cost him some. 54 SCVs. Clem now has more army supply than Rogue can even build. The 300 supply style of Zerg, but with 100 on the field at a time. He refills. The Medevac's he needs to do some healing here as the Banelings. An existential threat. The Mutas clearing things up. Will take out another Thor. There's just one on the back line. The Zergling count is too damn high. Rogue at 200 supply. And I think Clem, despite the fact that Medevacs can fly, he's going to be the one who at the end of the day is more likely to cry. As this game will not be ending in a tie. GG WP. Which always means maybe more when Clem says it. One way or another. Make your assumptions. Rogue takes the lead. 2 games to 1. Wow. What a... Clem, little mistakes. Combat shield. Honestly, the momentum he didn't get off that first attack. He wasn't quite expecting the Mutas, I don't think. And he just didn't get that much done early. And Rogue, in textbook Zerg fashion, just grabbed as much as he could and then threw it onto the field. And drowned Clem in a tide of Zerg. We'll see if he can keep it up. He's taking the lead. Heroes waiting. Patiently, impatiently. Just playing another tournament, meanwhile. Unclear. But Hero is waiting in the finals. Though, it appears we're going to take quite a road to get there. As Rogue taking 2 late-game macro battles. Clem, 1 execution. Where he just walked up and won. So, that trend does not bode well for Clem. Obviously. In a best of 7. As you can only play so many. The thing is, even the game Rogue lost, it was because of his build, not because of Clem's. Clem recognized it, he found the weakness, he punched through. But Rogue went for kind of a mid-game cheese, and it didn't work out. Sometimes that happens. So, Clem, a bit shaky. Needs to find some more solid footing. Sorry. Not sure what our official observers were looking at there, but I mean, a nice set of tentacles is a nice set of tentacles. You know what they say. Who's they? I don't need to answer that question. Moving on. Reaper. The playbook here. Well, Clem backs off with the SCV. He doesn't try to block the third. He doesn't stick around. He does not pass go or collect 200 minerals. Which means he won't block the third base. And Rogue should be able to get it. Mostly untouched. He's got the 4 lings. Third base. That's the reason to pop the drone out there. If the Reaper had headed that direction, the Overlord would have spotted it. He could just hide it. Well, if he really needs to, he can hide it in the gas geyser. But it's not really hiding so much as avoiding. They're 2 different things. Words mean things. Or so I hear. Factory, reactor. We got the 1-1-1, the Destiny Cloud Fist build. As I heard a Fever Dream call it sometime in the past. But now, does he just go straight for Banshees? This is all before a 3rd command center, by the way. Clem looking to put on a lot of early pressure by getting his starport before the 3rd CC. It is a bit more investment, but it's a significant speed increase on how quickly you get the Banshee out there. The Reaper. Healing the queens. No! I don't... Okay, Brent. I don't... But the Hellions just running by. Pull out at the last second. Bit disappointing, but it happens. Queens stoically marching towards the third. Just one for now. And a Banshee with Cloak on the way. The creep is a bit... it needs to be filled and a bit spotty at the moment. And until it completes and connects the second and third base, there's always the risk that the Hellions can outmaneuver the Queens. I mean, that's always a risk, but they get so much joint pain off the creep that it becomes very difficult to keep track of things. Overlord casually strolling in. The third command center starts. I don't know if he intentionally wanted the Overlord to see it, but he dropped it literally the last second the Overlord could spot it. Rogue gonna try to keep it alive. I think he will, as this isn't the new patch where Overlords are, well, more like Noverlords. They're so slow Overlords. It's painful. I really hope that gets changed. It's horrible. But I digress. Meanwhile, the Banshee, no cloak, gets one kill. Gonna do a little bit of extra damage, deny the mining. The thing is, the drones! Oh, there's an opportunity right there, too. Kills off a queen. The lair's not done. Who's gonna save the drone? Yeah, how about the queens, though? Here come the lings. This is starting to escalate. As the Banshee's still going to work. Rogue does not have an Overseer on the way. He's losing queens. And now it's two Banshees, which is exponentially more dangerous. As, of course, they can kill drones in a single valley and take multiple queens, even in a heads-up fight. A Spire begins. Rogue is still ahead in workers, but he has to replace a lot of these. Speaking of taking queens, Clem backs away. Gonna try to pick off that queen, but just kind of jostling around. Down go two. A Rogue is still just spamming drones. Knocks out another Hellion. It's not about how many drones you lose. It's about how many you can replace them with. And so far, Rogue, plenty. He's back up to 69. In fact, I think for the first time. At least in this game. Meanwhile, Clem, 1-1 on the way. He's got all of his infrastructure coming together. The stim is about to complete. Combat shield. See if it's queued up behind it. That was kind of an intangible, but clearly I can't not talk about it. It's so important. Adrenal glands is huge, but it's late game. You have so many units. Every push with combat shield, with or without, matters. So we'll see. Stim is done. He's microing the band. We're going to the Clem action cam. Prepare yourself. Well, Armory. Marines. Setting up the third. Delays the fourth. Banshees. Combat shield. Does he have a hotkey for that? You just clicked it really fast. It just clicks really fast. Believe it or not. Did he spot the Spire? No. No missile turrets on the way, but... Oh, Hellions? Caught. Completely surrounded. Somehow one survives. The Mutas? There are no missile turrets in the main. The Marines will chase down the... Oh no. It's a disaster. The Mutas will fly in, and he's gonna kill a whole heap and help of SCVs. 6 SCVs dead to start. Wait, the siege tank. The Marines are on either side. He just takes out the tank, which gets a Banshee. The other one cloaks just in time. But Clem, in a select all-army panic, he doesn't dart into the main. I think he was giving Clem the benefit of the doubt, but Clem did not have a missile turret. He could have killed another dozen SCVs, but getting a tank, a Banshee, and keeping the Marines at bay is already huge. There's still no missile turret in the natural. Clem! Well, is Baneling speed done? It is. The creep spread is looking really solid now, as Clem, obviously, in order to chase down the Mutas, He pulled everything back, and Rogue took great advantage of that. So, finally putting together enough missile turrets are not for killing the mutas. They're for discouraging them long enough for your Marines to get in position. And, well, here comes Clem. He's got 1-1 against 0-0. Make no mistake. This is a potentially deadly push. There's no counter damage happening. The siege tanks are in position. The creep is receding. There's still about 30 seconds. It's a 2 upgrade advantage and a 15 army supply advantage. Clem loses some Marines, but he parts the Blue Sea. He backs up behind. 12 Marines at a time. The siege tanks. Target fire on the banelings. Knock it out dozens. More trying to trickle through. They're gone. And they're just gone. Another wave. But it should be enough banelings that he can't just target them. And I was hoping Clem would prove me wrong, but does he even need to? The upgrades finish mid-fight. But there's only 3 more banelings in production. Clem just tearing right through. Without banelings, you don't stop these Marines. The queens? No. The zerglings? No. The mutas? No. And despite the strength of the mutas, Rogue was too greedy. He tried to get too much. And, wow, I'm really calling these early, aren't I? No, it's bad. It's really bad. He's supply blocked. He has the drones, but the mutas are dead. That's a GG situation. Like, I don't know why he fought there. The medevacs were obscuring it. Rogue just lost track of the mutas for once, and he lost almost every single one. One survivor. Which is... that was his main advantage. It's gone. Knocked out of the sky. Look at the supply. The mutas no longer fly. And I think Rogue is about to... oh my god. Let me make these banelings disappear. Clem hits the timing, cuts right through, and Rogue unable to recover. He got a huge advantage, but it's always so dangerous. You think 20, 30, the amount of banelings you think you need, double it. All right? Double it again, if you can. You need the banelings, but they weren't enough. Well, game number... ah, we're all tied up. The equalizer. We're going back to Exarch. Oh, you can spawn horizontal. Wait, no. I already knew that. Tubes! That's it. That's all I had to say about that. My favorite... so, I love tubes on the map. But you know what my favorite tube is? You. Tube. Hopefully you've enjoyed. And throw the fire. What is this? This is a 4-player map. Rogue is going pool first with gas. I think we've determined... oh yeah, there's a worker-only patch that you can only send... you cannot send units through the tubes. Disappointingly, in my opinion. But, yeah, the worker-only patch there. Just a editor manipulation to show that only workers can get through. 4 Zerglings on the way. Which, what's the follow? Just Zergling speed. He's still mining gas after Zergling speed. Which is already very suspicious. Though, getting Zergling speed before another hatchery is... I mean, he's not getting a queen. An SCV will be sent through the tube and will scout the correct direction. He's going for a baneling nest. The SCV will be spotted by the Overlord, which, is he gonna see the Bane nest? The Zerglings come out. And, nope, they can't follow it back. So, it's a baneling bust, but Clem, he knows about speed. So he's building a bunker on the low ground. But he doesn't know that the gas is still mining. I think it was intentional that Rogue took the one on the outside. And now the Zergling speed is about to complete. He should be able to take out the Reaper at the very least. So still quite an optimistic cheese, as Clem has had so much time to prepare. And in fact, the command center might finish. If the command center finishes, that's a large... he's not going to need the supply depots. So... okay, yeah, well that... yeah. That was more one-sided than a Mobius strip. I don't... Rogue. That was the saddest Baneling bust I've seen this entire year. Because none of the Banelings busted even. You know how bad it feels to get set up to bust like that? And you just don't? Feels like Clem has taken the lead. Despite the top tier play of Rogue in the first few games. That was just sad. Like, come on, man. What are you doing? I guess he didn't expect Clem to SCV scout, because half the time he doesn't. And then maybe he would get away with it. But, you know, this is what we might be needing for Rogue. Here on Necropolis for Game 6. As Clem one game away from taking a second shot at Hero in the Grand Finals. Is this a 4-player? No. I just saw the camera locations up there. I don't... like, I'm trying to think of the scenario that works. So the scenario that works is if Clem goes Command Center first, or if he goes 1-Rex Expand and does an SCV Scout. Then, there's no bunker. He gets up the ramp, and he likely is able to bust through the reactor and gets the Lings in. Here's the thing. It takes so long that even then... unless Clem is, like, getting a third CC and isn't fit... it honestly feels... the Baneling busting is... it ain't it. In, Legacy of the Void, really. You just don't have the economy to back it up, even if you get a lot of damage done. Like, even if they're at 0 SCVs, having 2 mules is 10 SCVs of mining. Yes, yes. You need units to defend them, but... yeah. But if it had worked, he would have looked like a genius. So, and also, I don't think he wanted to play the most, like, annoying annoying map to deal with medevacs. In the entire community and ladder map pool. But either way, the point stands, and it goes to Clem, who's up 3-2. Starting to stabilize after a shaky start to the day. I do desperately want to see Hero versus Clem again. Do I want to see Hero 8-0 Clem in one day? Absolutely. There is no other player I would want to see 8-0 anyone else in the world. But Hero against Clem? Nothing against Clem. But it's just so... the thing is, when he beats Cyril, it's clear Cyril knows he got. Clem's upset about it, which, having that passion for the game is important. Like, I see so much passion in the comments every day. Thank you. But it's just something, because Clem is so good. And Hero is... what? Rogue was able to drag a couple games to the much closer to 200 supply. In fact, already there. And then some. And if he gets there, it seems like Clem is... he hasn't built a single ghost today. So, whatever drama we talk about with the ghost in current day or the new proposed balance patch. Yeah, I know you're pretty far into this now, so we've already explained it, but the new patch is proposed. It won't necessarily go through as is. 8 worker start, ghost changes, Zerg changes. Now, historically, after a few weeks, it will likely go through and most of the change. Let him eat creep! Calm down, Marie. I'm just... He wasn't even on the creep. He was close enough! I don't... Sorry. I am... But... So, historically, the changes have mostly gone through with a few adjustments. I really, really hope, and probably the next video or the second after this one, will be a breakdown of the current state and my much more experienced feelings than the vibes of the first reading of the patch notes. But we'll see. But I think all of these games pretty much have proved that early aggression is still very plausible. It's just YouTube casters don't always show it because you can't always... You don't run many ads on Hero building a bunch of Dark Templar and killing Clem 4-0. Imagine if that was the whole state, it'd be like 30 minutes. Which, for most YouTubers, would be a long video. But here... we have a whole day, all right, and night. And maybe tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. Or we'll see. Whatever you're into. Okay, moving on. So, a Spire is on the way. Clem is taking us to McDonald's. He's got a second factory. He's researching Magfield Accelerator for that 50% more Cyclone knock-on damage. Rogue is just going Mutas, which, in my humble and modest opinion, is quite a Muta risk against Cyclone. So, they can just win. Like, they can just outright win the game. But if they don't, the Cyclones shred them. And it isn't close. So, it really depends on the numbers and the first engagement. And right now, Rogue was slightly supply blocked. He built some more Overlords, but that means the Mutas are just now starting, as the Hellbats are burninating across the countryside. He snipes off one Queen. Multiple Hellbats. The Banelings are great against him, but he's just not gonna... Okay, I was about to say, but not that great. Meanwhile, a single Cyclone jammed in. The boys will be pulled, but the third base will just be cauterized. And oh, look at that SCV micro. He manages to jostle the Cyclone out of the way. The SCV surround the... He didn't kill the... Hey! Hey! Come back here! Now it begs the question of, like, do you just kill it yourself and rebuild it? Because it's like just a strong inject would kill it. Well, not strong enough. I like to be gentle. It's enough. That's enough. Blue Flame is on the way. The Industrial Revolution in the main base. So, Rogue is... Mutas are not the unit you want when you're behind economically against mech. Probably the best... Like, what unit do you want? Well, there are no great options. But... probably Hydraling and then Infestors is the most likely to be able to actually turn the tables. Mutas are a pretty known quantity. You can get a lot of them, but... you're not going to catch a bunch of the Cyclones at once unless Clem makes some sort of critical mistake. So Rogue scratches his way back to nearly the worker count of his Terran opponent. But Clem's first attack just doing critical damage. And now, well, the Mutas are still threatening, and there's no tech switch on the way. He just started 1-1. Rogue is... well, he's found all of his success so far in this series by going Mutaling Bane. And he's going to try to do it again. Which clearly is his area of expertise. And honestly, I'd love to see Mutaling Bane in at least half the games. Mutalists are my favorite unit. Unfortunately, it's a painful experience to have that be your favorite most of the time. But Rogue making him look positively workable here. It's 11 Mutas to 12 clones. The Banelings are just gone. Another hatchery. on death's door, but hasn't yet completely entered the necropolis. I think the Cyclone's about to finish it off here. Yeah. Doesn't even lock on. He's got that vision of the high ground. Locks onto the mutas. He's gonna... No, that's not... No. Look away, Zergs. Well... He managed to keep many of the mutas alive. There's a 4th command center done. Rogue has 2.1 hatcheries. No hive. He is quadrupling down. Like, he's completely locked into the mutas. He can't get off this train. He has to ride it all the way. No matter what. So. The mutas and Lang's trying to catch. He does have +1 attack for both. Whereas Clem is only just about to finish the +1 mech weapons. Which is actually pretty huge in the Muta versus Hellion. Oh my, he can't even kill a turret. A Mule will drop. Rogue is down 50 supply. Finally, the weapons of mass production came to fruition. Clem, he was only even on supply because he was busy building up his production a while ago. But it's fully online. And very clearly so. There's no multiply. There's no kicker here. There's no infestors. There's no vipers. It's just a bunch of mutas. At this point, you don't even need the Hellions, though they're very helpful. Well, we'll see. Don't know why he scanned here. For an Overlord on that high ground, or just a misclick, either way. Well, this is about the best fight you're gonna get for Rogue. The Cyclones will lock on and knock out the fleshy parts of the mutas. He's gonna take a few more with him on the way out. The Hellions will reinforce. The Cyclones as well. And the first wave was barely dealt with. The second wave... Well... It's quite a death animation here, it feels like. It's literally just Rogue rebuilding the same thing over and over. It's not the definition of insanity, it's the definition of desperation. He just simply does not have the income to do anything else. He's hoping that Clem gets caught in a bad enough fight that he can either free up some space or counterattack and do a lot of damage. And the Cyclones are getting caught. The Zerglings eat some of the lock-ons. So... But the Hellbats... I can't believe this had... If this hatchery had died, I don't even know. It might have been better. No, it wouldn't have been better for Rogue. He kept it alive. He's been mining this whole time. It's like, if he loses it now, then maybe he would have wanted to, but... Another base over to the left after the Hellbats knock out the right. The mutas are fast, but they're not fast enough. Another no cancel. And Clem, well, off to a very tough start against Hero. He finds a... He stabilizes. There's still a dream for Rogue. The Baitling... Burrows Baitlings in the mineral line, and the off chance comes looking the other way. A very small one. Comes about to be at 5 bases, 86 SCVs, and about to 86 Rogue. As... Well, Cyclone Hellion is not so great for pushing directly into the army. It's all about hit and run. The skirmishing. Just playing hard to get. And it's clearly paying off. Another hatchery and even an Overlord that supply blocks Rogue. He doesn't want to tap out. Obviously. He's completely out if he does. There's 28 mutas now. Which, those are critical numbers. Like, Cyclones have... They are terrestrially... Oh no! He looked the wrong way! He had a chance to pick off the Cyclones with minimal losses, but no. He'll join up with the rest of the Battle Mech army. And the mutas will get chased all the way back home. Now, whoa! The Widow Mine somehow hits. Actually, not that relevant against Cyclones, but spreads against the Banes. The muta count is still damn high, but the Cyclone... How is this not dead? He's just gonna click it. Wait, come on. Just really teasing here. The Widow Mines get big hits, but the mutas again. 20 mutas, 6... Okay, finally locks onto the hatch. We'll finish it off about 7 minutes later. Stop teasing us, Clem. The mutas will flap over the top, and they may... But at what cost? Clem is building 5 clones at a time, 5 Hellions. Rogue, GG! Clem eventually bleeds him dry and will return to face Hero in the grand finals. Clem with quite a reverse bell curve. Losing 4-0 to Hero, going down 2-1 against Rogue. And then 3 in a row to bring it back. And he's on an upward trend. Well. So, and now it becomes relevant. Hero must only win a best of 7. As he has gone this entire tournament without losing a singular match. Which, you know, what a hero. And, wow, we're back on Necropolis for game 1, of course. Whereas Clem, who, as you know, did not succeed against Hero, must win the best of 7. And then, if he does, we'll have a best of 3 reset match. And the winner of that will be the champion. But in the top left corner of Necropolis, we have our undefeated player, the rank 1 Protoss in the world. It's Hero, facing off against the rank 1 Terran, who has not won a single game against him today. It's Team Liquid's Clem. And before we get started, and we're getting started pretty late at this point, be awesome if you could smash that like button, or maybe even subscribe. And we got to the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,857 likes. We're double dipping today? We should be triple. Well, 1,857 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life, or why I'd do anything else with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better as we've reached the grand finals. Hero versus Clem. The greatest rivalry in StarCraft 2, and we get at least twice as much of it. Now, I do think Clem probably... I feel like both of them the most emotional players in the game. It's just that Hero never really lets it affect him. Or it's not obvious because that's just how he is. But Clem has some of the highest highs. I won't say the lowest lows, but certainly it's quite a range. Of course, you should be familiar with the map after the last game experience. And a Zealot is waltzing across the map. A Marine is looking for any probe that might be hanging out. Trying to create any problems, but Clem has not scouted. He's just building a bunker. Actually, a very defensive start, and the bunker will be done by the time even a Zealot could get across the map. Quite a long rush distance here, and Clem not rushing out onto it. And, well, here comes the welcome party. The SCV dancing around. Now, the Adept, and he gets into the bunker. Some very slick micro. And he's dodging. Well, needs to get back in that bunker. The Zealot on the high ground. The Hellion will take it out. The Adept. Not long for this world if it sticks around. Thankfully, it leaves. And the SCV will slip out of the bunker, finish off the command center. A slight interruption, but overall Clem with exactly what he needed to deal with everything. Blink is on the way. As, well, that's the least surprising thing so far. I like how, you know, a lot of Heroes' antics, to be fair, and I think Clem has analyzed it perfectly. Just build a bunker. You get the money back, minus a 25 mineral restocking fee. Just build a bunker at home. And that is enough to completely almost completely shut down the gateway aggression. And allow Clem to have his expansion in a timely fashion. And behind it, we're going to have Ye Old Widowmine Marine Drop. An existential threat to Protoss despite the relative cheap nature. I'm not talking about metaphorically. Just, it hits before Blink. There's only 2 gateways opening up. So he's going to a Robo and a 3rd gate. Before a Nexus, by the way. They drop in the main. Which means there just aren't that many Stalkers and they don't have the maneuverability. Clem. He spots the Stalkers. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. One Marine left behind. The Hellion blocking the 3rd. It has 1 kill. Which wasn't a probe. There's no probe in the unit's lost tab. I think he dodged the Hellion. Why is there a probe? Don't question it. Don't question it here. Of all probes, Heroes... Can he trigger the Widowmine? That would be the most hero thing. Somehow both triggering the Widowmine and doing friendly fire to the Benefic. But no. Meanwhile, the Raven will be spotted. Can he blink over the top of that vision? I don't think so. No recall. Oh, he doesn't have the energy for recall. The Observer will spot it. A single Hellion into the natural. And, might kill a probe. No. Completely shut down. The Raven. Auto turret. Observer. Sieges it up. What are you gonna do about it? There's nothing to be done. Another Observer will spot the whole bulwark in Clem's base. Hero with a much more mid-game oriented... Well, honestly, the bunker shut down any sort of shenanigans that Clem may have wanted to do. We're just gonna... Oh, this is awkward. The Observer's inside of the... Well, in a way. Looking down on it. And, of course, a shrine to Dark. The Dark Templar are the choice. Though, significantly later in the game than we've seen thus far. Not late, just later. As he blinks past, he has the Prism, and Clem is not turning around. He actively saw it, and he is just going for the base trade. The Dark Shrine could come in handy here. Gonna try to take out the Marauders. A couple valleys, knocks it out. Where's the Warp Prism going, Hero? Hero! May have pressed one of those fateful buttons. Warping in more, but Clem correctly realizing that if he's got so much, he's got the Warp Prism on this side, there's just not that much back at home to defend. And he walks up. He knocks out the Immortal. Here comes the Raven. And even if the Dark Templar were warped in, well, as long as he keeps the Raven alive. Wow, in Hero. He's warping in Stalkers in the midst of everything, so... He flies off into the corner. He may actually spot the Dark Shrine with the Raven, which would be quite ironic. Close enough. And, well, Clem, it looks like for the very first time today, will be defeating Hero in indecisive fashion. Where he was caught off guard, bamboozled, led astray. in game number 1 of the grand finals. Clem just tearing right through him. A decisive victory for the Frenchman. And how the turntables have turned as DJ Clem doesn't even need to drop the bass. Wow. Well, a bunker. Who knew? Not that here, like the rush distance was so long that even a follow-up was a little bit difficult. I could one of the more macro-oriented maps, but Hero just completely shut down at every turn. I do feel having a little bit of distance from that first series may have helped Clem a lot here. And allowed him... I'm sure there was some time between. Maybe multiple days, I'm not 100%. Where he could... It's less... I feel like he needs less to work on his builds, work on his mentality. Because Clem is already better than everyone. I think Clem is actually the best player in the world. Come at me. But I don't think Clem believes that all of the time. Like, mechanically and even strategically. I'd be like, what about Cyril? Well, Cyril's not here to challenge me on that. So, we'll see. Maybe next season. But game 1, strong start for Clem. Sad start for Hero. And, to be honest, a little unoriginal. Doing a Zealot attack into a Dark Templar timing, which hamstrung his ability to deal with it. Just a direct... Clem did everything. He filled in all the gaps. Also, I feel like maybe the vetoes of the maps. We'll see what maps end up coming up, but... that may have factored in. No Celestial Enclave for a proxy inside of the base. Sort of shenanigans. And the probe is headed across the map. He's going to... Now, he's not going to get up to the high ground. Clem is scouting. I just... It's not even... It's just my voice sounds like that, okay? But, like... Clem clearly adapting. It's so hard when you're, like, in the midst of a series. To... Especially against Hero. Hero has the special power. Okay? It's just Hero. He does that to people, and it's almost impossible to stop it. The only person who ever could keep up with him in that sort of fashion was Dark. Come back to us. Which is why Hero, in homage, builds a shrine to him so often. But, Clem... The Raven, like the bunker and the Raven, that's it. You might say, why not just build that every game? Because... against a straight-up macro build, like, the early bunker and a Raven follow-up don't really give you quite as strong tools as potential bio timings. But strong enough, especially if they go for any sort of shenanigans. But, speaking of shenanigans, that's a Stargate. And he's going Phoenix. Stargates are not quite as rare in Protoss versus Terran as they are prevalent in Protoss versus Zerg. So, effectively 98% of games. Okay, maybe like 96. Zoned out. For 96% of games have a Stargate opener in Protoss versus Zerg. But maybe 10 to 15% in Protoss versus Terran. Because very simply... everything that comes out of the Stargate is a glass cannon. Everything is existentially vulnerable to Widow Mines and Cyclones. So you're pretty much reliant on perfect micro, and even then sometimes it's not enough. So we'll see. But it's high risk and high reward. If he completely shuts down the medevac, then he gets so much map control and can keep Clem at bay and just do whatever he wants, pretty much. But here comes the Widow Mine drop. Hero has been, as always, doing whatever it is he does with his units on patrol. And the Phoenixes aren't quite in position in time. He's been hiding them. But the Widow Mines will burrow anyways. Oh, he picks up one at the last second. Gets it, pulls out of the ground. Gonna re-burrow, but he gets them all. Gotta catch them all. And he did! Meanwhile, an Adept kind of wanders in. We'll just ignore that. Best case scenario. 0 probes dead. Medevac and all 3 Widow Mines cleaned up. 3rd base on the way. A Banshee is headed north. If Hero picks that off... Oh, he saw it. He saw it. Oh, it doesn't get any better. Oh, it's a disaster. The Phoenixes get everything and more. A Cyclone's about to pop out. That's the only thing that... Oh. And he can maybe... He picks it up. He might not be able to take it out. He might be able to do so, though. Oh, it's getting a little awkward. He takes it out, but loses a Phoenix or 2. There's enough energy for another pickup. And that's a fresh mule he just dropped. And cuts its life even shorter than usual. What a disaster for Clem. The Phoenixes... Hero mixes it up. He says, I let you have one. But Hero giveth, and Hero taketh away. As he knocks down the Widow Mine drop. Takes out the Medevac. Gets a free Banshee. And then some. And he loses a couple Phoenixes, but the damage far outstrips the losses. Taking out everything he built out of the starport for the first 5 minutes of the game. And out of the factory. So, 2/3 of Clem's production negated. And, of course, even better than hallucinated Phoenixes are constantly scouting. And he's got the Star Charge follow-up. +1 attack in charge loss. Another Phoenix. Ooh. The Marine's able to pick it off. The triple threat. Oh. A Robo Bay is on the way. As I think Clem is just going to go all in. Does he pull the boys? Kind of feel like you have to. Like, it's not going to get any better. Hero's at 60 probes, and he's still building them. Which really might need to rethink that, as he should realize that Clem is effectively all in. Like, he's seen the entire base. He knows there's not another command center. The Robo Bay is a long way off. Colossus production behind even that. He picks up into the Medevacs. That's kind of a crazy move. An Observer is in siege mode, surveillance mode, which gives it the most vision of any unit in the game, besides those watching who want to make their balance arguments and narrative. He actually unsieged it, but I'm pretty sure Clem noticed. He spotted it, even though technically there wasn't detection there at that moment. But there's no other reason to drop out that early. Well, I mean safety, but I'm reasonably sure he spotted the Observer, or at least the Shimmer. Hero is behind heavily on supply, but if he chops through here, yeah, a force field, optimistic. Colossus is on the way. And Clem is... Well, with that Colossus finished, it gets a lot harder to deal with all this. The Widow Mines could be helpful, but they could also turn against him easily with the Phoenixes above. And Hero, well, that's mass Widow Mine. 1 Phoenix picked off. I think Clem will be pretty diligent about taking out the other. A second Colossus. He's even going for a Templar Archives. Clem is getting a 3rd command center. He's not tying himself. I thought he might go for the all-in, but Clem, keeping his cool. And Hero has not been able to punish him for it. The Widow Mines, oh no. Splashing across everything. A couple taken out. The minefield scattered. And he's just gonna send a legion of... That's scan. A couple Archons. The 4th base is optimistic. Most of the army. 2 Colossi just hanging out on their own. What are you doing, Hero? The charge lots. The Widow Mines will do terrible, terrible damage. He's trying to follow up his main army. A Warp Prism gets hit by a mine on the way, so it's about as bad as it could get. There are 4 Vikings. The Warp Prism pulls back at the last second. The Archons are quite a proposition to deal with. He warps in some more Stalkers, correctly anticipating the Vikings. And Clem is gathering on the high ground. Hero with extended thermal lance, +1 attack upgrades on either side. The Widow Mines will distract the Colossi, though important to take them out if possible. Hero trying to shove forward. But Clem has way more army supply at this stage. Hero still has the economy. The fact that he got his 4th base sniped off is obviously not ideal. He's trying to drag out the stims, so that way the medevacs run out of energy, which is a real strat that only a few Protoss are able to reliably pull off. That's a lot of Vikings here. And the Colossi won't get too many swipes. He needs to make sure they're worth it. And then if the Vikings take out the Colossi quickly, well, the command center itself is taking a lot of damage. He's got a Scandinavia Vikings. Look at those volleys. Knocks down one. Repairing the command center. The bio ball rolling forward. And Archon may suffer for it. The scan. He doesn't have enough energy. He has 1 force field or 1 guardian shield. That's it. Hero warping in more rounds. A 4th base is on the way. But I have to stress, he doesn't have that sort of Zerg toss economy, where you can just send wave after wave of zealots like it's direct strike and your teammates are yelling at you so you're throwing intentionally. Feels like that with Hero sometimes. But, ooh, Viking knocked out. The zealots chopping through. And Clem scrambling. That is a lot of zealots committed. A couple Viking... He recalls out. It creates quite an awkward situation. But the highest supply we've had in any game thus far between these two. It kind of feels like Hero... Well, he's floundering a bit. But Clem's army is badly bruised. And 2-2 upgrades are a long way off for both sides. Especially Clem, who hasn't started them. The Colossi will be toppled by the Vikings. The Liberators taking pot shots at the Archons. And Clem, a beautiful concave, arcs out. Why are there zealots here? Where did they come from? Where did they go? Where did they come from, Zealot-eyed Joe? What? Were they in the main? Was there a warp prism? Not anymore. Clem takes the supply lead. He knocks down the Colossi and only 1 remains. Mixing in more Archons, which are usually great if there are no ghosts, but a Venn diagram of freedom. The Liberators are moving forward, and Clem just gutting down the Zealots. And not just 1, but it looks like 2 games in a row. As Clem is tearing through everything. He recharges a sentry for force field. He slaps out a couple feedbacks, but it's not enough. The Colossus is running off into Narnia, and the Terrans are running into the 3rd base. He skips killing the Nexus to kill the army. And another Colossus, the Marauders split, they stim and they take it out. The probes are pulled off the line, and Hero will fight with everything he has. And what he has is not enough. Clem will take 2 in a row. Hero coming to terms with that fact, and also he knows that Clem will definitely tilt if he stays in the game too long. It's a real strategy. It's been effective in the past. But Clem looking like this one, it could not have gotten better, really, for Hero at the start. Yet, Clem slipped out. And this is the Clem we're used to seeing. We saw him kind of heat up against Rogue. And now he's firing on all cylinders, as Hero still refuses to leave the game. Another Colossus will be toppled. The Immortals living up to their name. He's gonna wait till every last unit dies. But then, and only then, will Hero deign to leave the game. Well, 2 Stalkers, 2 Gs, 2 games, 2-0. Clem takes a solid lead. The first time in 3 series that Clem has a decisive lead. But it's looking good. It looks like he's fully embraced the situation. The fact he was able to bring that back. Hero kind of meandered around the tech tree. Okay, like he went for Phoenixes and then Colossi and also Archons, which is a lot of different shrubberies and not very far up when it comes to the tech tree itself. So Clem found an opportunity to micro and he used it to the fullest. He didn't get tilted. Hero sending out 30 zealots. What are you doing? Where did those zealots come from? But We're back on Exarch. We've seen 3 very... we have yet to see a game, despite being by far the largest map in the pool. 4-player map. Tubes. It seems like everybody's using it as an opportunity to disguise their cheese. With Hero doing... Remember the proxy robo? Wasn't that long ago. You should be able to remember that, Grandpa. Okay. Oh. Back in my day, we used to have to tell each worker to mine. And that's why Brood War was such a strategical game. Because if you didn't get carpal tunnel by the age of 16, then you weren't even trying. And it's that sort of marathon-like obligation to do the technical requirements of a game that was designed in the 90s, just like you, my son. Then it's not really a strategy game, because strategy is all about doing the same actions several hundred times a minute, so that way you can actually have strategy. And that's why a 4-worker start in StarCraft 2 would actually be better, and we can just apply that, because Brood War is so good. That's why I never play it. I only watch Artosis, who doesn't seem to be very happy with it. I don't know what's going on there, but I respect the effort. And nowadays, people get so upset over the... Grandpa! No. All right. Mac Terran Great. Sorry. I apologize. And thank you for your attention. The probe, doing the old in and out at the tube. He actually timed the probe in the tube for when the Reaper would be across, and it works perfectly. And this time around, Hero with significantly less buildings in the middle of the map. So, there's just a base. It's just out there. Well, the Stalker, hello, sir? Clem, he would have let him in. He wouldn't be going out, unless he recalled, I guess, but the SCV almost just barely on the corner that he could hit in range. Grenade pops out. And a second Stalker will make things significantly more complicated for both sides. And the SCV, and the SCVs behind the depot, of course, need to be considered. A Cyclone on the way. And, well... Oh, he got it! The RNG on that SCV certainly may be prompting a GG prematurely, but it appears Clem happy enough to just build up. Honestly, the Stalker's getting way more than they ever deserve to. Ian, I swear. So, despite everything, how did he not lose a Marine? One probe and one SCV have died so far, but so much. Okay, there's a lot going on. The units lost tab. You can't just look at the numbers. The numbers never apply to Hero. The drama, on the other hand, the excitement, it's almost intangible. But Cyclones and Medevacs aren't. The Stalkers getting a decent amount of damage. His boost was on cooldown for that moment. Adepts, hello? Is there some Marines? You may get one SCV? No. But he's gonna mildly inconvenience the mineral line. Alright. Meanwhile, the drop attempted. Blink. Still not quite done. Clem knows even the quickest blink timings if you've expanded. And it's not like Hero's slouching on it. He's got Chrono Boost on the way, though. Is Supply Block trying to build an Observer. Is not ideal. Should have lost the Adept. Blink is going to finish, and several seconds later, he's going to blink directly into... He spotted the tank, right? He 100% spotted the tank. He's going to go. There's no way he does it. He blinks in! The vision! He ate a tank shot with the Adept! And the auto turret to the side almost picks off the Raven. Slips back at the last moment. Blinks out. Abandons the Adept to its fate. As most players do when we reach that 5-minute mark. Well. Goes past the Angelic Tube. With a single Marine dropping. Hero gonna continue forward. As for the first time we reach a solid 2 bases on this map. Though, okay, solid might be overselling it. Semi-hard. That sounds more right. Warp Prism on the way. Stalkers recalled back. Spotted it immediately. Dragged out the recall. Worth the effort, I think. So Hero's actively microing his observers constantly. Because when they're in surveillance mode, they have several more vision range. They have like 3 or 4 more vision range than a medevac. So that potentially gives him the time to unsiege it and put it in its cloak mode. Because in surveillance mode nowadays, it is not cloaked, but it has so much sight, you still might not see it. I love it. Hero, the only player I've seen really actively using it like that. Most just pick one or the other, but Hero, Schrodinger's Protoss. Is he in the main? Is he in his Warp Prism? Is he somewhere in between? Yes, and also no. Third base solidly online for Hero, who's supply blocked again, but he's constructing additional pylons. Templar Archives. Again, very interesting. Well, Hero. Templar Archives. No Robobay at all. Is he actually going to go Storm? Meanwhile, the Stalker's still going. Yeah. Storm. In production. Hallucinated Warp Prism. I think he's trying to sell it so hard that it may time out before he actually shows it. The Warp Prism, but it will time out. I think Clem just saw it dissipate, which is not really gonna sell the idea that he had a Warp Prism there. There's a probe just in the corner at the ends of the Earth. Probably thinking about a hidden base just on the complete other side of the map. One of the most common yet hardest to deal with tactics on especially multiplayer maps, ones over 2 spawn locations. Hero waiting out his storm upgrade. Clem, still, despite all of the games we've seen, not a single ghost. And if there was ever going to be a game for it, I think this is going to have to be the one. As Storm, an existential threat. He's building Vikings preemptively. But for the first time in a long time, and he spotted the Templar Archives. He gets out, and he's... Why is there a Templar Archives? Okay. So, if he didn't have the Templar Archives there, Clem would still think it's Colossus. But instead, he's got a Ghost Academy on the way, and he stopped building Vikings. The Templar come out. The storms are hitting Marines and Zealots alike. And I don't think this is going great. He walked directly into an entrenched position. And it, well... Yeah, that... Hero kills 2 Zealots, as well as a smattering of Bio, and he got the Raven. Clem killed a lot more. And even the medevac gets out despite the feedback. Gets picked off at the last second, but well, there's plenty more Templar where that came from, and many of the Marines and Marauders were not healed from the fight previously. Hero does have a 4th base, but... And he's transferring probes across the entire map, which is not too much downtime, but is worth noting. A hallucinated Colossus. Well... See if it sells him on that idea. Worth it both for vision and for trying to convince him. The Templar EMPs! It's gone! The energy's just gone. He has a couple more, though. That's a big one. And maybe a storm to cover the retreat, but definitely needs to merge into Archon sooner rather than later. Trying to get those selections. It's actually quite finicky to do so. There's no automatic way to use your low energy Templar. That one Templar with the energy for Storm is going to come forward. The pre-MPs are not enough. The Storm is not enough. He just wades right through it. Some Vikings on the way. He may have been convinced, or he's just expecting a follow-up of Colossi, but Hero, it's not working. No. Hero, yeah, well, looks like real Colossi this time. Who's going to put the Robo Bay at the front? Is he just not going to build a Robo Bay? Another Forge. Hero going to go through the awkwardly shaped rocks. Oh, Clem. Did Clem catch a glimpse? He noticed. Well, he spotted a Warp Prism. He spotted the rocks. The Prism does seem more important. The Vikings will split off, but somehow Hero slips by. The triple drop to follow it up, but that means the army's in an awkward spot, to say the least. Half the army committed to the main base via the medevacs, but the other half seems to be enough. The Warp Prism will buy as much time as possible, which ends up being about 15 seconds. Clem maintains quite a supply lead. He's had the advantage ever since he spotted the Templar Archives the first time. A fourth base is on the way. Hero getting a more standard fourth base, though there are still the rocks. There's a worker path between the bases, which is curious. Clem scanning like, no, I don't believe you, says Clem. Like 2 scans committed when he has this few orbitals. He only has 3, right? Yeah. He doesn't believe him. There's no way you just have a fourth base coming out. There's a Marine scouting for all this. No. You're not that incompetent, Hero. He's gonna find it. Now, still is the question of what do you do about it? Nice little split there. Saves the Zealots, at least for a few more seconds. Well, actually, I think the Marine got select out-armied. Uh-oh. And then he sends out another one. Yeah. Unfortunately for Clem, every second really does count here, because Hero's at 83 probes. He's got 3 Nexi in production simultaneously, because of course he does. He's going from 4 to, like, 9 bases in record time. But if he doesn't do something soon, it's going to be more like a record scratch. As Clem is maxed out. 2-2 upgrades are closing in. He has Vikings, he has Liberators, he has Ghosts. He's got the full Terran composition, and Hero is not even maxed. The Warp Prism targeted. It will survive for now. The slow zones interchanged with the speed ones. The Templar feedbacks actually slaps the Ghosts out of their energy. Warp Prism knocked out, gets one of the Templar out. And the multi-speed zones here on either side definitely affecting the kind of tempo of the engagement, as you might expect. Category 5 Storm hits absolutely everything. The medevacs are entirely out of energy, but there's nothing back at home to defend. A Disruptor's coming out. A recall in retreat. Oh, watch out, watch out, what? Fires off a Disruptor shot. Sometimes it feels like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is thinking or doing. But, oh, the Storm interrupts the snipe. Enjoy it while it lasts. Meanwhile, the 2-2 upgrades. For Hero, potentially vulnerable in the main base. It looks like Clem is opting for a 3-prong surround. And here comes Clem. The Storms, where are they? Hero not reacting here. Disruptors all throughout. The Templar are gone. The Disruptors are way too late. And Hero blindsided. I think he was caught on the north side of the fight. And now, well, So, it seems like Hero lost that fight, but he's ahead in supply. In the last 2 minutes, an obscene amount of units have died. Clem has destroyed more resources overall, but Hero now has his 9 bases? Only 13 gates, only 2 robos. But he knocks out the Liberator, and suddenly Clem, it looked like he might just walk across and win the game. But now, where does he go? He's bottled up in his base, and if he moves out or even tries to commit, say, 2 medevacs to the south, then Hero can slam him with the rest of the army on the other side. And he clearly has the economy to do so. Clem, get the printer out of the Divine Beast. Well, There's, what is this? There's four charge lots, a stalker, and a disruptor. Walk into a bar. Micro is the counter. There are way too many critters in the way of everything right now, but... The speed zones also work on purification novas. Feedback just implodes the ghost with its own psi energy. Ripped from the inside out. And now, here we go again. Hero. With a little bit of everything all of the time. And Clem trying to pin him down, but Hero, the most slippery of creatures. Disruptor's EMP is good. Disruptors 1, 2, 3, 2 are popped. A third lands. It's not enough. He's gonna chase it down. There's no more Templar with energy. If he scans forward and sees it, well, it doesn't matter. He's just tearing through everything. Another warping could help. But Clem survives the fight with mostly full HP, and that's very important. Energy recharge on a singular Templar. EMP wipes it out immediately. It's go time indeed. And Clem is stimming up the ramp. The Zealots are backed into their own base, caught between a rock and a hard place. The Liberators to back it up. And Hero with nothing left to stand in his way. Clem this time. Well, Clem again, not this time. 2 games in a row, it seemed like Hero got off to a strong position at some point or another. And 2 games in a row, Clem weathered the storms, survived the splash damage, whittled down the Zealots. And, well, Hero's gonna make him work to the last unit. And he still technically has more bases than Clem by a lot. So there's a tiny chance that he rebuilds all that, but he just doesn't have the money to rebuild. Most of the tech is in the main, and Clem is closing in on it. The Liberators cutting off. He doesn't have advanced ballistics. I don't think he needs it. The Vikings are mixed in. The Warp Prism mid-fight isn't knocked down. Well, he actually stops some of the Zealots from being warped in. He topples the final Colossus. Hero fighting to the bitter end. But Clem, happy to drag him there. And after a 4-0, he warped in a storm with energy recharge, but after 4-0 in the winner's bracket finals, Clem, in the grand finals, turns it around and goes up by 3. The roller coaster rivalry of these two. And he's 1 game away from giving us a 3rd series. And Hero, well, on brand. We don't wait. Game 4 is on 10,000 feet. Tarantino's dream is a probe goes across the beginning of the game before the very first pylon. So the game will begin immediately as that first probe gonna try to keep tabs on things, and maybe more than that. The SCV, tantalizing. Probe bloodthirsty. Don't even know probes can be. You can simulate it. I always wonder if probes can feel pain. And, well, I think we can all agree. I hope so. SCV pops out, joins in on the action. The double team, bit unfair, but that's not how we play, all right? Advantage is an advantage. Well, just like the Zerg, the Zergling, failing. Hero, even trying to block the base. Not as meaningful against Terran most of the time, but no Terran wants to build it a little bit off to the side. That's mildly inconvenient. which is a capital offense. And it's a slippery slope. You let them block the base for a couple seconds, and suddenly you're just deleting Terran's opportunity to ever win a game. This is how balanced discussions usually work. Caring very loudly. He's scouting. The clear difference in this series. So, well, one, keeping his cool under pretty heavy pressure. And two, clearly scouting and putting up defenses, even if he doesn't see anything. Because you never know. You never know. You never know. Pick your favorite. You never know. Weird. Starport on the way. The 111, not so already a stark difference. I don't believe we've seen the concussive shell marauder build once. Whereas in the first series, I believe 2 or 3 games, despite even getting some damage, like I feel like concussive shell marauder is just playing into Hero's hand. The lower tech you stay, the worse it gets. And Hero thrives when we're down in the dark ages. The Frenchman, on the other hand, prefers feudal as he builds his castle. An imperial mindset for the Clempire. Raven on the way. Covering his bases. Clem locking in that build. Not even a Widowmine drop this time. Just straight into siege. Actually, it is a different variety. He's not... He's straight up tank push. Wait, is this a bunker rush? Well, we're just playing it very safe. Okay, we're a couple hours in. I'm starting to... Honestly, it's not blending. Usually when I cast... Part of the reason I don't usually cast whole tournaments is because it's not so great for the algorithm. Occasionally, yes. So I really hope you're seeing this at this time and enjoying. And maybe in the future, occasionally. If it works out that way. But, and two, is the games... Casting so many games back-to-back is hard to focus. This is where usually, especially in live events, you have 2 people to kind of keep each other on track. Or the opposite with whatever Tastosis is doing. But, I'll be honest, not zoning out. Well, besides the little occasional lapses, but that's just senior moments. As these two, and Clem versus Rogue, well, aggressive, intense, and now like that siege tank, dead, but not forgotten. Doesn't make any sense. Moving on, the Blink Stalkers just rolling through the base. He takes out one tank. There's another one not quite in position to blink on top of it. The tank with just enough range. He's going to reposition again. He yanks one of the Stalkers back, blinks down, but Clem has already repositioned himself. Blink coming off cooldown. He's going to eat one tank hit, maybe. No, right on the edge. Blinks over to the side, and he makes his way out. The Raven survives, and that's pretty huge as well. If he can get a couple of auto turrets, they could make or break the defense at this stage. As Hero trying to turn things around. He needs to win 4 games in a row, but we've already seen that he can definitely do that. The Zealots, he's gonna blink past. Gets, well, no, wait, no, the Marines are body blocking. Oh, no. The SCV's pre-pulled. The Stalkers try to scramble away, but between the boys and the Marines. And Stim is about to finish. If he can get him to blink... Oh, it's done. Does he chase? Just stays on the high ground. Hero, well... He's not going to give away the blink, and also he's already half dead, so... Hero destroys 3 siege techs, 8 SCVs, 8 Marines. He gets the Raven. But he lost the majority of his supply. He starts the Dark Shrine. Clem already anticipating it. Clem getting a missile turret, as he's already expecting the Dark Shrine in this sort of scenario. The boy who cried dark. It's me. I cried. Come back. Zealot charge on the way. The third base, this was pretty all in out of Hero. Clem has more workers. Hero does not have a third Nexus done. So, ideally, he gets more damage. The main base is relatively bare bones. The Stalkers, a couple of them like, Step Commander, help! I can't get up! I don't... Well, the Warp Prism will survive as the Stalkers sniped off the Vikings. He got Combat Shield as well. A full stim across the board is permanent damage until the medevacs come out. Stretches the definition, but don't be pedantic. 3 Dark Templar are warped in. And Hero may still very well have the opportunity. There is a missile turret. He'll spot it. Does he pull back in time? No, he gives away the DTs. And the Warp Prism. Yikes. Well, that's about as bad as it could get. All 3 Dark Templar and the Warp Prism. And Clem has so little respect for these Stalkers, he's just going to send a double drop out to counterattack. DT Blink is on the way as Hero will double down. Is there a D... That's a Dark Templar hiding in the trees. Wow, it really... Okay. He was going to try to outflank the Stalkers. Recalls back. Blink DTs are the... He's quadrupling down here. An expensive upgrade for an expensive unit that he's already revealed. He's betting on it becoming a fighting unit here, which... I don't know how much fight he'll have left in him. Scans forward. Another warping, and... Well... Yeah... Nah. I think we may be going to the face-off. A single DT, he gets the tank. Which is something. Is it enough? I have my doubts. Blink's out of some of the mines. There's a few more Dark Templar. Blink is not done for them. He's tearing through the rest. And Clem wins 4 games in a row. And brings us to the finals. Hero has now lost a series. And his advantage is gone. Hero in the winner's bracket, 4-0 versus Clem, knocks him down to face off against Rogue. And it's a rocky start, but he powers through, 4-2. And then, firing on all cylinders, he just, like a freight train, barrels through Hero and claims victory 4 games in a row. Which means... all that remains of the Revival Star League Season 5 is a singular best-of-3 face-off. A reset to determine the true champion. These two, so evenly matched in such different ways, which is why it's the best rivalry in StarCraft 2. And we get... well, not the maximum amount of games, because it was 2 4-0s. Like, if it was... Here we go. The finals. The reset. The ace match. I think it's called the reset match, but I like calling it the ace match. Jimmy, just ace. As Hero, in case you're confused and concerned, one last time, in case you're one of those people who skip to the next game and don't like all the intermittent commentary in between, or zone out during it and get confused when they finally zone back in. Hero, coming from the winner's bracket after his 4-0 victory over Clem, was undefeated. Clem fought through. And Hero's first loss was in the first series of the Grand Finals. If Hero had won that series, he would have won the entirety of the championship. And we wouldn't be here. But now that he has lost a series, he's even with Clem. And a final best of 3, because a best of 7 is that's a lot. That's a bit much. So we return to whence we started on Rorschach. Which, there's a joke there. But, I couldn't think of one. But I do think. Therefore I am. Philosophy. Jimmy, edit that out. That was really... And welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with our grand finalists. In the final series. The Frenchman from Team Liquid in the red. We have Clem. And facing off against him for the last time in this series, the rank 1 Protoss in the world, we have Hero, who's currently proxying a Stargate. So before we get started, and we're obviously getting started really early, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? Help me count the hour. Yes, we're triple dipping. I know it was 4 series, Teddy. 1,858 likes on this video, on this cast. What the fuck? You know the rest. What is he doing? Oh, baby, what is you doing? What the fuck? A proxy Stargate Nexus? Oh, this is the epitome. A shield battery. This is the epitome of 20 or 200 IQ. Either this works and he's a genius, or it doesn't and he's the... This is Hero. A Void Ray! Surprise! There's nothing! There's no defense! 2 Marines do not count. A Widow Mine is not done. He's camping. You can't stop it from coming out. Can he repair it? Not enough! It's dead!
He's dead, Jen.
But, oh, he's gonna spot the shield batteries. Does he spot that? He doesn't know about the Nexus. So, shield batteries that build nearby a Nexus, this almost never is relevant, especially in this matchup. They start with 100 energy. If they're not nearby a Nexus, they only have 50. Meanwhile, and also you have access to energy recharge. He's burning through with the prismatic alignment, but the SCVs will repair. He really wants that Cyclone, the only thing that could potentially even deal with any of this. But the bunker's not building. The Void Ray's inside his base. Hero was keeping his powder dry. Oh no, he showed some real G's in the last series, but oh my, oh sweet Mother of Mercy, oh sweet Tassadar, oh sweet Carol, what is this? Hero has brought us to the promised land. What did he promise? Madness. And entertainment. And something a little bit better. Is it working? I can't tell. Like, the Void Rays are burning through the starport. He doesn't... Well, he's gonna move it, I think, after the Viking. It's too dangerous to leave it there. It's too dangerous to move it. Clem has a second base. Like, he's reacted so well for what he had. Like, he could have already lost it. Is that a fleet beacon? Mothership Tempest? Flux Veins for the Void Rays? Hero is continually... I can't. Well, we'll just have to see how it plays out. The Vikings do a lot of damage, but there's so many shield batteries. This is entirely a forward operating net. He's mining gas, actually. He's completely walling off the mineral line because minerals are irrelevant. He's gonna build a second Stargate? I can't believe what I'm seeing. And I watch Hero almost every single day. He plays more games than probably anyone else in the world. I still can't. He saved this until the finals. Maybe Clem vetoed this map in their first set. I don't know. But, a Tempest! What? Does he see it building? He does, technically. The shield batteries are good, but he has so many. The Nexus really ties it all together. Without the Nexus... He lost the Oracle, right? Without the Nexus, these shield batteries would be at half energy every time they finish. The Nexus is actually a very important part. He knocks out another Widow Mine. A second Stargate, and technically Hero is on 2 bases in the most technical sense of the term. He can recharge these shield batteries as well if he has the energy. I think he's using it all on Chrono. He's chipping away. No tectonic destabilizers. Knocks out the Cyclone. And of course the Vikings are taking the damage. The SCVs are desperately trying to repair. Another Widow Mine. Another unit's lost tab addition. Oh, the Nexus is taking the Tempest is taking a lot of damage. Has to go take a sip of the shield batteries, but he burns through another Viking. And the Marines are not enough. GG! Hero! After losing 4 games in a row, he whips it out and slaps this cheese on the table. Oh, in case. Call an ambulance, but not for Hero. What? Hero takes the lead again. Well, I just need a moment. You didn't need over 2 hours to learn who Hero was as a player. You needed 2 minutes. But the 2 hours, I think, helped. Oh, Clem. Now we're gonna see. Is it desperation? Or is it determination? Is it a well-crafted and finely curated cheese? Or is it a sloppy, desperate all-in? Is it... Well, it's 2 Rex Marauder, probably, but... behind the trees. And again, we've got everybody's buildings on the same screen simultaneously. Clem not to be outdone. He's putting it all on the line. The entire tournament. This is tournament point now. If Hero needs 1 more win. Clem, only 2. Significantly less than he had a while ago, but... And Hero does not scout with a probe. He goes Nexus before Cybercore. There's a very good chance that...
He's dead, Jim.
The SCV scouting in at... Now, it might be a little suspicious that he scouted at all. Probe. Though, he's made a habit of it, especially in the first Grand Final Series. Couple Marauders. No concussive. Yet, at least. There it is. Holding with the SCVs. No probe scout at all. This... It could just end. It probably will. Like, this, that Hero is... He slips out of so many situations. But... This is not, like, 1 Stalker and 1 Sentry against 5 Marauders. It doesn't work. Well, maybe none Stalker. Did he see it? He saw an SCV! Sorry, I'm a little excited. He got a glimpse. But is it too late? No, he has a Sentry! But he doesn't have energy recharge, but he has 1 force field. There's a lot going on. The shield battery. He's chrono... I don't know why he chrono boosted probes. That was a mistake. He might have done that. That SCV gave it away. That tiny glimpse. The ass of the SCV hanging out. And the force field needs to be perfect. It is. Partitions off. 1 Marauder. Stays out of range. Dark Shrine! He needs a recharge. He gets it. Just in time. With the dregs of the energy. And that 1 SCV. Just a little bit too thick. A little bit too much gear in the rear. And it will cost Clem potentially the entire tournament. He had the win there. There was no defending it. If the Sentry gets caught on the low ground, he is dead. D-E-D, dead. It's still not great for Hero. But it's a lot better than it would have been. Oh, wait, did he scout the Dark Shrine? He did see the Dark Shrine. He's super supply block, though. The barracks is going to come back around. Oh, he's going to... Hero's freaking out so much. Oh, no. He's so hard supply block. 33 over 31. He just started one pylon. He's going to spot the Dark Shrine. Clem may just cancel the command center. I don't... Wait, what? The Marauders! They walk in... No! Oh, it's a disaster. Well, this will free up some supply. Wait, who's... What's going on? Is there a Dark Templar? No, there's a wall of supply depots. The Marauders are targeting the Stalkers quite effectively, but not... the probes are completely off the mineral line. He literally has no mineral mining right now. A DT's warped in. He might be able to delay the command center, but there's going to be a Raven. Though, okay, there is one scan, but he actually doesn't have any units. No, he needs to delay that command center. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There's one scan. He forces him to back off, but, like, that's a lot of damage. Here come the Stalkers. The DT just gets into the main, but there is a missile turret. He tries to move away, shuts the door. In the chase. And the last shot. He gets through the depot. But the command center still... You just gotta slap the bottle on it and call it finished. There's no blink. There's no charge. Hero has not built a probe in, like, half the game, which really isn't that long, but... Well, Raven. And the tank, and... it's not enough. He doesn't have the economy, he doesn't have the bases. The Cyclone lives. There's no Tempest coming to save him here. GG. Clem almost betrayed by a single SCV with the Stalker in its keen eyes taking a look. But the damage was done already. And the Dark, honestly, the Dark Shrine, he just can't help it. The Dark Shrine was maybe a more dramatic commitment than was needed, especially after he got the Sentry in the force field, but Hero doesn't half-ass anything, unlike seeing SCVs want. Well. Well. The final game. Assuming it's not a draw. Which, I'm not ruling it out. Of the Revival StarCraft 2 League in Korea. Season 5, 2026. In the top left, the rank 1 Protoss in the world. We have Hero. And in the bottom right, of course, it's Team Liquid's Clem. The former world champion, but Hero, his kryptonite, or so it seems. Hero winning the winner's bracket 4-0. Clem winning the first Grand Finals series 4-0. And now immediately after, there was definitely no significant delay between those series. Whereas, obviously, like I'm saying that because there was some time between the winner's bracket and the Grand Finals, obviously. As Clem had to beat Rogue in that process. Anyways. Now we're all tied up. One game to rule them all and decide them. Neither side building buildings on the other side of the map to start things off. What an experience. We'll see. This is going to be a 45-minute macro slog. Would be appropriate. The probe gets away. One SCV drill, but survives. And will be living rent-free wherever Clem looks away. It's always right behind him. Just trying to come up with something more clever than that. But anyways, moving on. And thank you for spending such a significant portion of your day. I hope it was worth it. No matter how this ends. Well, I had a lot of fun. It's not over yet, but I certainly hope it made your day at least a little bit better. And I hope you are interested in this sort of format, like the actual tournament format, on a semi-regular basis. And just by being here at this point and watching through, you've already indicated that. But I'll take that. I'll take the comments. Thank you for watching. You're breathtaking. Enough about that. Hero proxies a Stargate. Because of course he does. The Reaper. And does he get it? No. Slips away. There is a Marauder. Here we go again. We're doing a perfect reprise of all the cheeses. We have Concussive Shell Marauder and Proxy Stargate up against one another in the final match. An amalgamation. And Marauders are not very good against Oracles, but they're good against everything else. So there's going to be almost no defense for Hero, but there's almost literally no defense for Clem. And this Stargate is just right there. And oh no, the Adept gets in. That could really complicate things even more. As even, like, any amount of extra damage lights it up, and the Oracle gets in. Meanwhile, the Marauder on the other side, the shield battery finishing just in time. As for the umpteenth moment, the probes are pulled. Many of them will die, and the Oracle only has so much energy with which to murder Terrans. Its main weakness has a preset kill limit. Meanwhile, the Marauders are still cutting back. Warpgate is not done. He delayed it so long to get the Stargate. Another Oracle. Even more oracles on the way in this deplorable cheese-filled experience. And what's in the main? The Widowmine will burrow just in time. Incredibly important. But a few more SCVs will get melted by the Oracle itself. And he has to come back. And Clem has taken terrible, terrible damage. And he hasn't been able to deal it in turn. The Oracles, he burns through some more Marauders. I don't think he quite has enough energy. Oh, he gets an Oracle. And now a medevac coming across, but surprise, Stalkers. And, oh no, the medevac, he boosted to chase, but now he's in the unit's lost tab. But the Marines, there's no blink here. The Oracle lights up. There's not enough energy to do much more than help this fight, but it will recharge. They are just laying into one another. The first two series were like watching a slapping match where each side gets to take a shot, but now they're just having at it. No holds barred. Damage dealt to both sides. Losing the medevac was very rough. He lost an Oracle, most of his gateway units, but Hero, he knows the starport time is excessively limited, especially in this sort of situation. So he's taking a third base and getting blink, and there's a very good chance that he could finish it all before Clem can come across the map. The Stargate. He's whipped out the Stargate 3 times. Once for a more macro-oriented Phoenix play. Once for the most ridiculous cheese, honestly, I may have ever seen, considering the context and the execution. And once for something in between. Now, a lot of Terrans might say it's downright mean. And I want them to know they feel seen. But the units on which Terran usually leans are just not something you can, is always in the green. I'm not a professor or even a dean, but I think the winner of this may enjoy some ice cream as we completely go off track and back onto it. What do I mean? No. Jimmy, edit that. Thing is, Hero, he's got map control. He did so much damage. But remember when he did the very similar scenario with the Phoenixes on Old Republic? Not that long ago. Yet he wasn't able to close. He didn't have the splash damage against Clem's stimmed bio. And guess what? Hero does not have the splash damage. And Clem has stimmed bio. Well, not yet. He's holding off the stims because permanent damage, but... Wait, he does have... Yes, okay. Hero blinks away as he hits the stims, which is just an understanding of the situation. Almost presciently. And another proxy gate. The second of the game as he takes a fourth. Clem, desperate to pull it together. Hero, trying to keep him pulled apart. The revelation, incredibly helpful. The stasis, does he notice? No! Oh no! It's a disaster! The first stasis ward of the entire day. Maybe the last. As Hero knocking on the door of victory. But there's so much... There's, damn it, Widow Mines. Getting a lot of damage on the other side. He has to pull the boys completely onto the front lines. And remember, the bio's not dead. It's just incapacitated. Which means Hero's gonna have to deal with it. He's coming back around again. Some Zealots, they don't have charge. And that's very important to note. Concussive Shell is very done. Charge isn't even that close to finishing. 13 probes dead. The probes will kill the Widow Mods. Hero only up by 10 workers here. Mule's dropping. Trying to deal with it all. The Stalkers trading. And, well, Hero has +1 versus +1. The Oracle's knocked down immediately, but the charge lot's streaming through. And Hero, keeping Clem bottled up in his base, he blinks forward. 1 mine, 2 mine. The red mines die to the blue Stalkers. And Clem is running out of real estate. He's running out of games to give, and he's running out of units. Hero turns it all around. And after losing 4-0, breaks out some of the most hero strategies and is the hero of this tournament. Your champion. After going all the way. Hero. The one man who defies expectation, prediction, and preparation. The one man who can take Clem to a 4-0 and somehow lose the same way. The one man unfazed by that exact situation, and the one man who is standing victorious here today. Hero is your champion. Say it twice. It took him 2 series to do it, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed as much, or at least a tiny percentage of as much I did. I really hope you enjoyed as many games as you ended up watching. And thank you to the Revival Struggle. You can patreon.com/RSL. Jimmy will have the link. Jimmy. It's not hard. Sorry. But speaking of, if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome. If you could check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. Otherwise, thank you to our Mule Tier patrons. Big Jig, Devin Door, Kate, Crazy Mouse, Mario Suit. Very glad you still enjoy. Make sure to check out this video that Jimmy picked out just for you. Otherwise, we're coming down off it. But thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And I know it's not on the new patch, but I think these guys are pretty good at the old one. What a match. And Clem versus Rogue wasn't bad either. Like, Clem finally kind of warmed up, but I really thought it was important to see the whole picture here. And, well, what a picture it was. Congratulations, Hero. Good luck. Have fun. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.